Chapter 52:41. The people from the five elements, holy lands, also advised Yuan Ju. That's right, senior brother. You mustn't ruin His Highness Hun Tian's plan. Otherwise, we'll all die. Yuan Ju also took a deep breath. He trembled when he heard the name, Hun Tian. His opponent was the double-crown champion. How terrifying was that? He said, "Fine, I'll let those people live for a while longer. At that time, if they dare to resist His Highness Hun Tian, let's see how they'll die." Following that, more people arrived one after another. These people entered the pavilions and palaces and waited. In the evening, these people came out one after another. A banquet was about to be held. Although these people wore black robes and didn't want to reveal their faces, they were still dazzling. However, there were always some people who were radiating brilliance, allowing others to recognize who they were with a single glance. For example, there were people with soaring sword energy, people with five elements laws revolving around them, and people with powerful physiques. Every holy land had their own unique techniques, so it was easy to distinguish them. These people stood out because they wanted to show their identity and make others feel reverence. Lin Xian and the others also came down. They didn't have any aura of laws on their bodies, so they walked among the crowd and listened to the news. After all, Lin Xian was very curious about who was condensing the power of the true spirit world. The other holy lands were also curious and started discussing spiritedly. Someone said, "Did you see that?" This time, the power of the true spirit world came. Someone must have specially arranged this. That was indeed the case. This mansion belonged to the Pureness Immortal Plateau. However, the Greenwood Immortal Plateau only provided a place for them to stay. Therefore, I'm guessing that someone else is holding this banquet. I heard some people shouting, "Your Highness." Could it be that the young master of the Pureness Immortal Plateau has come? Many people were shocked when they heard this. The Pureness Immortal Plateau belonged to the Yuhua Immortal Dynasty. The young master of the Pureness Immortal Plateau was definitely a top-notch existence. He wasn't any weaker than the Crown Prince. What was the purpose of such a gathering of people? One could well imagine that it was definitely something earth-shattering. There were also people who said, "No, I don't think this Your Highness refers to someone from the Immortal Plateau. It might even be someone else. Didn't you notice that there were many people from the All Beginnings Holy Land? It must be related to them." The All Beginnings Holy Land cultivated the aura of primal chaos. Now that the world had recovered, they had become even more mysterious. That's not all. Haven't you heard? Previously, during the test at Nebula Hall, a chaotic body had appeared. That was the Double Crown King. His opponent was from the Primal Chaos clan. Do you think the All Beginnings Holy Land is related to them? Could it really be him? Heavens, if it was him, it was really possible. Voices rang out one after another. They all guessed the same person. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes when he heard this. Chaotic body? He snorted coldly. If it really was the other party, then he wasn't unfamiliar with them. Of course, these were all just guesses. No one knew for sure. However, since the other party was holding this banquet, it would definitely appear in the end. The banquet began. Everyone drank and chatted with each other. When the banquet was about to end, a group of people walked over from afar. The person walking at the very front was dressed in a black robe, but his face was hidden. A woman and a man, both of them exuding a terrifying aura, as if they could split the heavens and earth apart. Countless people exclaimed, "The Saint of All Beginnings and the Saint of All Beginnings." The Saint of All Beginnings and the Saint of All Beginnings were just two titles. Lin Xian looked up and discovered that they were no longer the people he knew. These two people's faces were unfamiliar, but their auras were 100 times stronger than before. They could already be considered peak heaven's prides. The surrounding people also exclaimed in surprise. However, what surprised them was that the Saint of All Beginnings and the saint of all beginnings was accompanying a single person. The person walking at the very front was dressed in a black robe. His entire body was shrouded, and his face couldn't be seen clearly. However, since this person was above the all beginnings holy land, his identity could be imagined. Could it be that he was the host of this banquet? Thinking of this, everyone sat up straight and looked ahead. The group of people stopped. Then they sat down. That was the seat of the host. The black-robed person sat in the main seat. The saint of all beginnings and the saint of all beginnings sat beside him. The other people who had left the Holy Land also sat down. Taoist all beginnings. May I know who this person is? Someone asked. The saint of all beginnings stood up and asked, "Everyone, there is no need to be anxious. Let me introduce him to everyone. This person has an extraordinary origin. He is an honored guest of our all beginnings Holy Land. Speaking of which, he also has a relationship with our Holy Land. He is the young master of the primal chaos race, His Highness Hun Tian." After saying that, Hun Tian took off his cloak. When the surrounding people saw this scene, they exclaimed in surprise, "Hun Tian, was it really him?" Everyone wasn't unfamiliar with this name. After all, this person was a double crown king. One had to know that Kunping Zi and the others were all double crown kings. Now that the double crown king clan was above their imperial sons, how could they not be shocked? They hadn't expected it to really be him. Not only was he a double crown king, but he also came from the primal chaos race. The all beginnings Holy Land was already so terrifying just by possessing the aura of primal chaos. The primal chaos race was even more terrifying than the all beginnings Holy Land. The primal chaos race was a clan that had existed since the creation of the world. How terrifying was that? With such a clan and such a heaven's pride, it was enough to sweep through everything. Looking at the discussions below, Hun Tian swept his gaze around and gently waved his hand. No one dared to speak. When Hun Tian stood up, he was like a god of primal chaos overlooking everything. He said, "It's me." Sure enough, it was him who had gathered them. He was the host of this banquet. However, why had he gathered them? Everyone was curious. Hun Tian sat down again and swirled his wine cup. A strange light flickered in his eyes. Everyone knew that there were two stars in the universe that were extremely mysterious. One was the buried emperor's star, where great emperors were buried. The other was the true spirit world, where countless geniuses and even great emperors were born. Now that the true spirit world had recovered, our holy lands and sects were growing stronger day by day. However, we still couldn't compare to the buried emperor's star. Furthermore, the treasures that belonged to our clan's experts were all buried in the buried emperor's star. Don't you want to explore it? Don't you want to obtain it? When these words came out, countless people were in an uproar. Even Peacock and the others were surprised. This guy was so ambitious. What did he want to do? The others also cried out in surprise. Someone asked, "What does His Highness Hun Tian mean?" Hun Tian said, "I want to gather the strength of the true spirit world and go to the buried Emperor's Star to explore the ancient Earth tomb." When these words came out, countless people were in an uproar. Peacock was also stunned. She had guessed that Hun Tian was bold, but she didn't expect him to be so bold. His goal was actually the ancient Earth tomb. Beside her, Yunyu was also surprised. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. As expected of the double-crown champion. What boldness! The others were even more shocked. They had guessed countless possibilities, but they didn't expect it to be this. For a moment, everyone was stunned. Chapter 5242. What's wrong? You don't dare? Hun Tian shook his head. Although your strength has increased greatly, why are you still as cowardly as before? It's truly disappointing. Someone said, Hun Tian Palace, it's not that we're cowards. It's just that this matter is too shocking. We need to think about it properly. What should we think about? Someone said, if you're cowardly, then admit it. We're not afraid. We're willing to follow His Highness Hun Tian. The sword sex people walked over to the side. That's right, the 5 elements holy lands Yuan Ju also walked over. With His Highness Hun Tian here, there's nothing that can't be done. We're also willing. In an instant, more than a dozen holy lands and sects walked over and stood on Hun Tian's side. The All Beginnings Holy Lands people had excited expressions. This is great. Hun Tian's lips curled up. His expression remained calm. With his reputation as the Double Crown King, could these people stop him if he wanted to do anything? Everything was under his control. However, there were still people who were hesitating. Although that was the case, the ancient tomb of a great emperor was a land of death even on the buried Emperor's star. Moreover, there were countless treasures inside. If they went, would the people of the buried Emperor's star agree? That was indeed the case. Many people on the buried Emperor's star had designs on such treasures. For the time being, they didn't dare to make a move. If they went, the buried Emperor's star would probably declare war on them. Hun Tian smiled. You're worrying too much. We're family with the buried Emperor's star. If we go, we'll only join hands with them. We won't become enemies with them. Once these words were said, many people were shocked. From his words, it seemed that Hun Tian was already contacting the people of the buried Emperor's star. It seemed that the other party had this idea for a long time. It was very likely that the other party had already set up a big plan. They were just waiting for the right time to activate it. Everyone, if you're still worried, I'll let you meet another person. Friends of the dragon race, come out. Hun Tian waved his hand, and the aura of primal chaos flew into the distance. A group of people walked out of the palace in the distant sky. The aura of the Tao of Dragon from these people swept through the 9 heavens. The surrounding people felt their scalps go numb. What a terrifying bloodline power. Yunyu cried out. It was the people of the 10,000 Dragon Dynasty. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. Was the 10,000 Dragon Dynasty on the move again? Furthermore, they were walking with Hun Tian. The people from the 10,000 Dragon Court descended from the sky. The one walking at the front was a woman. The aura of dragon blood on her body was extremely terrifying and mysterious. The surrounding geniuses all bowed respectfully. Greetings, Princess Long Wu. Hun Tian shook his wine glass and patted the seat beside him. Long Wu, come and sit here. Long Wu nodded slightly and sat down beside Hun Tian. The surrounding people were shocked. The people of the Dragon Clan had really come. It seemed that what Hun Tian said was true. Lin Xian frowned. The name Long Wu was exactly the same as the Dragon Prince from before. What was the 10,000 Dragon Dynasty doing? Hun Tian looked around and said, You might not have heard of this name before, but the Dragon Prince's name was Long Wu. Long Wu's voice was the same. But you should also know that she replaced the position of the Dragon Prince. Princess Long Wu was the leader of the 10,000 Dragon Dynasty. She represents the Dragon Clan. Now that she has joined forces with me, what else do you have to worry about? The people from the surrounding holy lands and sects were stunned. Replacing the Dragon Prince? This was too unbelievable. Although the other party didn't have the imperial bloodline, he definitely wouldn't be weak. After all, they knew that there were many people who didn't have the imperial bloodline who had risen to prominence. For example, Hun Tian didn't have the imperial bloodline, but didn't he still become the Double Crown King? Everything was possible. If Hun Tian and the 10,000 Dragon Dynasty joined forces, with the 10,000 Dragon Dynasty's position in the buried Emperor's star, they would definitely be able to do it. They might even join forces to explore the great Emperor's tomb. In an instant, many holy lands and sects responded. However, there were also some people who frowned. Was it really just an alliance? They didn't think so. With Hun Tian's status, it was very likely that he wanted to control the entire true spirit world. If that was really the case, their future would be miserable. However, they were only worried. No one dared to object at this time. If anyone dared to object, they would be courting death. They would offend the Dragon Clan and the primal chaos race. Hun Tian alone was enough to suppress 10,000 worlds. He was a true double-crown king. Seeing that no one dared to object, Hun Tian nodded and laughed. Everything was under his control. He was very satisfied. However, at this moment, Yuan Ju of the Five Elements Holy Land walked over and said, "Your Highness, in the central continent of the true spirit world, there is a sect called the Divine Palace. It is also a top force. However, I don't think they will agree to join forces so easily." "Why?" Hun Tian's face sank. "Does he dare to go against me?" The surrounding people were also shocked. Peacock's pupils shrank. That damned Yuan Ju. He was taking revenge on them at this time. Jian Shao also walked over and said, "Your Highness, you may not know that the Divine Palace's palace master is a very mysterious and terrifying person. It is said that their palace master is Lin Wuti of the Buried Emperor Star." "Lin Wuti!" everyone exclaimed. This name was like thunder in their ears. A few top experts had appeared in the Fallen Star Hall. One was the double-crown king, Hun Tian. The other was Yao Guang, who cultivated the heaven-devouring demonic art. The last one was even more shocking. It was Lin Wuti. He was on the young sovereign list and had the qualifications to become a great emperor. Such a person's strength was terrifying. As a member of the Divine Palace, would he agree to join forces with Hun Tian? One had to know that although Hun Tian hadn't reached the 4th floor, his strength was definitely extraordinary. He had the potential to become a great emperor. Such people were sworn enemies. There was only one person who could walk the path of becoming a great emperor. They were natural enemies. How could they join forces? Hun Tian's eyes flashed with a cold light when he heard that. Lin Wuti! It was actually him. Humph! So this was the Divine Palace's foundation. But it didn't matter. He had reached the 4th floor, but he only had the potential to become a great emperor. That possibility was too slim. Currently, the one walking outside is only one of my clones. My main body is cultivating and has not come. Otherwise, with my main body strength, Lin Wuti wouldn't be able to behave so atrociously in front of me. He is nothing to be afraid of. As for the strength behind Lin Wuti, it is enough to contend with the 1,000 Dragon Dynasty. But my primal chaos clan has been around since the beginning of time. Our family's foundation is not something Lin Wuti can imagine. Whether it is in terms of strength or foundation, I can firmly suppress Lin Wuti. So, you don't have to worry. Of course, no one can contend with your highness. Jian Shao and Yuan Ju clapped and laughed. The others were also in an uproar. It seemed that Hun Tian wasn't afraid of Lin Wuti at all. In fact, he was extremely confident that he could suppress Lin Wuti. How terrifying was Lin Wuti? It seemed that the Divine Palace was finished. For a moment, everyone shook their heads and sighed. Chapter 52-43. There was an ethereal palace in the clouds far away. There was a figure standing inside the palace. He was dressed in green and had a handsome face. She was Qing Tan, the woman who was pouring tea for Ancestor Greenwood. There were a few figures following behind her. They were all from the Greenwood Immortal platform. It seemed that the plan had succeeded. These people didn't dare to go against Hun Tian at all. That's because Hun Tian was the double champion in the first place. The Hundan clan behind him was even more terrifying. They had a boundary emperor in their clan. Such a person wouldn't even care about the monarch clan. Not to mention the true spirit world. Qing Tan nodded after hearing that. Then we can start the next step of the plan. Suddenly, someone said, "Hey, look at that woman." According to the information, she should be Peacock Fairy from the shrine. A man pointed into the distance and said, Qing Tan, and the others looked over. It turned out that the people from the shrine were here too. However, They didn't stand out to resist. They should have submitted by default. At this point, they felt that the plan had succeeded. However, Ching Tan frowned slightly because she felt a sense of danger from Peacock Fairy. Who was it? She realized that there was a black-robed man beside Peacock Fairy. However, she felt an inexplicable sense of danger when she looked at him. What a strange person. Ching Tan was shocked. This black-robed man was not simple. He must be an unparalleled expert. She gasped. There was actually such an expert beside the shrine. He wouldn't submit so easily. However, she didn't know if this person or Hun Tian was stronger. Next, Hun Tian, Long Wu, and some other top geniuses left. They went to the other palaces to discuss matters. The surrounding people started discussing again. After all, what Hun Tian mentioned was too shocking. They had to think carefully. At this moment, someone said, "Isn't that Peacock Fairy? It's really her. The shrine is here too." Everyone was shocked. Previously, someone mentioned the shrine, and they might have objected. However, they didn't expect Peacock Fairy to be here. She didn't say anything before. Could it be that she had submitted? Someone said that it was for sure. How would she dare to go against Hun Tian? Humph. So what if the shrine is strong? Xiang Fei sneered. Aren't you bowing your head now? His eyes were filled with schadenfreude. Previously, when he went to look for Peacock, he was ignored and even slapped in the face by Lin Xian. He was so ashamed that he could not show his face. Now that he saw the deity hall in trouble, he naturally rejoiced in their misfortune. However, he was not satisfied. He had to get his hands on Peacock and torture it to death. There was also that kid. When he thought of Lin Xian, he gritted his teeth. No matter who you are, I will make you regret it. Thinking of this, the corner of his mouth raised into a sneer. Now that the Four Symbols Sacred Grounds had formed an alliance with His Majesty Hun Tian, he could naturally borrow His Majesty Hun Tian's strength. Thinking of this, he left. He wasn't qualified to meet Hun Tian, but he could contact the people of the All Beginnings Holy Land. He found the Saint of All Beginning. Of course, he would exaggerate some things. Holy Son of All Beginnings was furious. Are you saying that the Divine Hall is secretly gathering forces to resist us? Yes, that's right. Xiang Fei nodded. Peacock is right here. If you don't believe me, you can ask her yourself. Okay. The Saint of All Beginnings stood up and walked over with his men. Xiang Fei led the way. Humph, Peacock, let's see how you will die this time. The crowd was still discussing when a path suddenly opened up. The Saint of All Beginnings had arrived. They all bowed. Some of them could resist him, but they did not dare. After all, the primal chaos race was behind him. They could only admit defeat. Seeing these people coming over aggressively, they were surprised. Who were these people looking for? Could it be that someone dared to offend the Saint of All Beginnings? Did they not want to live anymore? The Saint of All Beginnings had an extraordinary status. He was a top genius. Once he used the primal chaos law, he had the power to split heaven and earth. He could suppress other top geniuses with a single hand. Who dared to resist him? Soon, these people arrived in front of Peacock. They confronted each other. Xiang Fei smiled. Peacock Fairy, I trust you have been well since we last met. When Peacock saw him, her face sank. Why did you bring people here? Peacock Fairy is very nervous. Don't worry, I just need your promise. The Saint of All Beginnings also walked out. Why didn't you say anything when His Highness Hun Tian united the true spirit world? Since the deity hall is also here, decide now. Do you want to submit? Everyone was in an uproar. They didn't expect that they were targeting the deity hall. Peacock Fairy had an extraordinary status in the deity hall. If she lowered her head, it meant that the deity hall had to submit. People of the All Beginnings Holy Land, don't go too far. Peacock stood up with an ice-cold expression. Her body emitted 5-colored radiance that could engulf everything. Her bloodline was also extraordinary. Peacock was a unique beast of heaven and earth. In addition to her years of experience, she was also a top expert. Audacious. You dare to contend against us? Don't you know who we represent? We represent His Highness Hun Tian. No matter how strong you are, can you contend against the primal chaos race? The people of the All Beginnings Holy Land were so cold that the scalps of the surrounding people turned numb. No one dared to oppose them. Xiang Fei walked out with a smile. Peacock Fairy, a wise man, submits to circumstances. As long as you lower your head and become my Tao companion, I will do my best to help you get His Highness Hun Tian to forgive you. Otherwise, not only you but your entire deity hall will be annihilated. Peacock was so angry that her face turned pale. This Xiang Fei was so hateful. At this time, Lin Xian, who had been sitting down all this time, spoke. If you want to die, I can send you to hell. Damn brat, it's you? Xiang Fei shouted angrily. Who do you think you are? You dare to be arrogant in front of me? He turned his head and looked at the saint of all beginnings. Since this brat dared to look down on us, I think we should kill him as a warning to others. Since this brat dared to fight over Peacock with him, he would let him know what regret was. Thinking of this, the corners of Xiang Fei's mouth rose. Humph! Let's see how you die. But in the next moment, his pupils shrank because he saw the other party raise his head. There was a trace of golden radiance flickering in his eyes. Then he felt as if his soul was about to split open. He held his head and screamed miserably. No. His soul started to burn. He rolled on the ground in pain. The surrounding void kept shattering, but he still couldn't extinguish the fire. In the blink of an eye, he turned into ashes. The surrounding people were stunned, dead. A top-notch genius was instantly killed just like that. What kind of method was this? It was too terrifying. The saint of all beginnings was furious. The other party dared to kill someone in front of him. Was this a challenge to them? He wouldn't allow such a person to exist. Courting death, with a cold shout, he formed a seal with his palm, forming the seal of all beginnings. It carried a terrifying primal chaos aura and rushed toward Lin Xian. Chapter 5244. The seal of all beginnings illuminated the surroundings. The surrounding people were shocked. Heavens, this is the ultimate technique of the All Beginnings Holy Land. I have seen the saint's son of all beginnings before. He used the seal of all beginnings to suppress 2 peak experts. That black-robed man was dead for sure. No matter how strong he was, it was impossible for him to contend against the saint's son of all beginnings. The surrounding people shook their heads. In the face of the seal of all beginnings, Lin Xian sneered. With a wave of his hand, a 5-fingered mountain appeared and slammed forward. A heaven-shaking sound echoed. The seal of all beginnings shattered, and the 5-fingered mountain arrived. Boom! The saint's son of all beginnings swayed, and cracks appeared on his body. No, how was this possible? The other party's strength was actually so terrifying. It was as if he wasn't facing a black-robed man, but a god. He couldn't resist at all. He had only felt this kind of situation from His Highness Hun Tian. Just who was this person? In the next instant, he was suppressed by the 5-fingered mountain, and the earth shook. Everyone was stunned. What were they seeing? The saint's son of all beginnings, a peak expert, was actually suppressed in an instant. This was too inconceivable. Just who was this black-robed man? Damn it, who are you? Release me. You dare to injure me? Do you know the consequences? The saint's son of all beginnings crazily roared. He had lost all face. Moreover, he was seriously injured. This was something he couldn't accept. Lin Xian sneered and slapped out, shattering the other party's face. Who do you think you are? You dare to be arrogant in front of me? Even if Hun Tian came, he wouldn't dare to be so arrogant. Hearing this, the surrounding people were stunned. The other party didn't place Hun Tian in his eyes at all. No way. Could it be that this person was an imperial prince? But even an imperial prince wouldn't dare to be so arrogant. Damn it, let go of our holy son. When the other experts of the All Beginnings Holy Land saw this scene, they frantically rushed out. However, Lin Xian formed another five-fingered mountain and suppressed all of them. He didn't kill them. He only suppressed them. Then Lin Xian shook his wine cup and calmly tasted the wine. The surrounding people went crazy. This person was slapping the All Beginnings Holy Land's face. No, he was challenging His Highness Hun Tian. Could this be the trump card of the temple? But when did the temple have such an expert? How could they not know? Voices of discussion rang out one after another. They were all guessing Lin Xian's identity. I'm afraid a storm is coming. There were also people who shook their heads. He was dead for sure. Soon, someone passed on the news. Hun Tian sat high up in a distant hall and looked down. What do you think? The surrounding great sects and sacred grounds of the true spirit world were all sighing in their hearts. The other party's conditions were too harsh. It was equivalent to them completely submitting to the other party. However, no one dared to resist. That was because if anyone dared to resist, that holy land would probably be reduced to ashes in an instant. It seemed like this was the only way. Although he was unwilling, there was nothing he could do. That's right, it wasn't embarrassing to submit to him. After all, he was the double champion. The other party's clan was rumored to have a quasi-emperor. That was probably even more terrifying than an emperor clan. Therefore, they all nodded and agreed to such a request. Hun Tian's mouth curved into a smile. The true spirit world's forces had been integrated. Next, he could make his move. It was time to explore the tomb of a great emperor. Of course, he had to wait until the matter of the Yuhua immortal dynasty was over. Suddenly, a voice came from outside. His Highness, this is bad. Hun Tian frowned. What's the matter? Didn't I say not to disturb me? However, at this moment, a person from the Hun Tian clan personally walked over. He said, Your Highness, the matter is urgent. Someone has suppressed the saint of all beginnings. Our ally, the genius of the Four Symbols Sacred Grounds, Xiang Fei, was also killed by the other party. As soon as these words came out, everyone in the hall was stunned. What's going on? Someone dared to behave atrociously here? They couldn't believe it. One had to know what kind of identity Hun Tian had. He alone suppressed the true spirit world's sacred grounds, making them unable to raise their heads. Who dared to resist such a person? Hun Tian's face darkened, and killing intent erupted from his eyes. Are they courting death? It seemed that he had been too merciful before. Well, let the true spirit world see his means. At that time, he wanted to see who would dare to resist him. How dare they fight against His Highness? They're too courting death. Jian Shao of the Sword sect stood up and shouted coldly, We must kill him and intimidate the world. We are willing to fight for your Highness. The people of the Sword sect said. The people of the 5 elements, sacred grounds, also petitioned. This was a good opportunity. Whoever could be valued by His Highness Hun Tian would have a meteoric rise. However, Hun Tian waved his hand and said, No, our primal chaos tribe will deal with this matter ourselves. Hunli, go ahead. As soon as he finished speaking, a figure walked out from behind Hun Tian and said, Don't worry, Your Highness. I'll suppress him and bring him here for Your Highness to deal with. This person had a monstrous aura and terrifying power. He was like a barbarian god. Even the experts of the other sacred grounds felt their scalps go numb. Just the other party's aura was enough to frighten them. This person could definitely sweep the world. I'll lead the way. Yuan Ju stood up. Then the two of them left the hall, and the other sat down again. They didn't think it was a big deal and believed that it would be resolved soon. At the banquet outside, countless people were still discussing. After all, the scene was too shocking. The saint of all beginnings and the other experts were all suppressed, which terrified them. They didn't know what would happen next. At this moment, someone said, "Someone has come to the hall. The Primal Chaos Tribe is here." They were shocked. Did the Primal Chaos Tribe come in person? They all looked over. A tall man walked over, and the chaotic aura on his body was abnormally terrifying. It was really someone from the Primal Chaos Tribe. It seemed that His Highness Hun Tian was angry. "Get out of the way." Yuan Ju led the way and shouted angrily. The crowd opened up a path for him. Soon they came to the front and saw the suppressed saint of all beginnings and the others. Yuan Ju also gasped. Did they really dare to attack? Hun Li's face turned gloomy. Who was the one who did it? "Get over here and die," he shouted coldly, and the void around him shattered. It was as if he was really going to split the world. The power of the primal chaos terrified everyone. This person was much stronger than the saint of all beginnings. Was this the power of the Primal Chaos Tribe? It was too terrifying. No one could resist it. "You're not Hun Tian. I told Hun Tian to get over here himself. The others are not qualified to be my opponent." Lin Xian snorted coldly. His arrogant words shocked everyone again, and the people who rushed over were also angry. Yuan Ju was surprised. Who was so arrogant? He looked forward. When he saw Peacock and Lin Xian, he was stunned. It was them. Weren't they the ones who drove them away? These people were very terrifying. He had experienced it before, so he wanted to remind them. But it was too late. Hun Li was completely furious. The other party didn't put Hun Tian in his eyes. He couldn't stand it. Chapter 52:45. Hun Li was much stronger than the saint of all beginnings. He laughed. "Kid, you're too arrogant. Do you think you can compete with me just because you defeated the saint? He's not even half as strong as me. Today, I'll let you know the power of the Primal Chaos Clan." He raised his palm and punched out. Primal Chaos Divine Fist. This punch was extremely terrifying. The aura of primal chaos surrounded it, as if it could pierce through the world. At this moment, the surrounding people were terrified. They felt as if their bodies were about to be destroyed. What kind of fist technique was this? No one could resist it. Even Peacock gasped. Beside her, Yun Yu's eyes were also shining. She didn't expect the Primal Chaos Clan to have such a person. Lin Xian was also surprised, as expected of the Primal Chaos Clan. But so what? I've said it before. If you want to be my opponent, let Hun Li do it himself. You're not enough. He clenched his fist and punched out the Six Paths Fist. The phantoms of the six worlds surrounded him, suppressing everything and pressing forward. He dares to fight back. Does he know what kind of existence he's facing? It's over. I think this guy is dead for sure. Seeing Lin Xian still attacking, the surrounding people shook their heads and sneered. They seemed to be able to see Lin Xian's end. Boom! The two fists collided, shaking the world. However, the result was shocking. The Six Paths Fist directly shattered the Primal Chaos Fist. One of Soul Power's arms suddenly split open and turned into a bloody mist. He screamed and retreated. In the next moment, he was suppressed by the six worlds. The surrounding spectators widened their eyes in disbelief. That was Soul Power. It was much more terrifying than the Saint of all beginnings. That punch was enough to destroy the world, but now it was directly shattered by someone. He was seriously injured and even suppressed. This guy is too strong. Is he really an emperor? At least he has this kind of strength. Several people exclaimed. Damn it. Hun Li was also terrified. When did the temple have such an expert? Could it be? He thought of a possibility. That is the temple master of the temple. Is it really him? He wanted to shout, but he couldn't. The six worlds made him like an ant. He could only crawl. Yuan Jueshi, who was next to him, knelt on the ground. Had he dared to clamor with such a person before? It was already a miracle that he was still alive. The others were also shocked. They were all trying to guess who this person was. There was a mysterious figure in the crowd. He was wearing a Taoist robe. He looked ahead and sucked in a breath of cold air. Could it be him? If it was really him, then perhaps everything could be explained. The laws on this person's body were abnormally deep and terrifying. He was from the Tao Holy Land, eldest senior brother. Who is he? The others from the Tao One Holy Ground were also confused. Who was it that could make their eldest senior brother so shocked? Was he an imperial prince? First senior brother shook his head. No, he wasn't the imperial prince, but he was even more terrifying than the imperial prince. Hearing this, the people from the Tao One Holy Ground were stunned. Then they thought of someone. Was it him? Lin Wuti. There were two people who were even more terrifying than the crown prince. One of them was the double crown king, Hun Tian. However, it couldn't be him. There was only one other person left, and that was Lin Wuti. He was someone who had killed the dragon prince. Such a person was too terrifying. Moreover, they had heard all kinds of legends about Lin Wuti. Previously, they found it unbelievable. However, the incident at Nebula Palace happened right beside them. He was the only person who had made it onto the Supreme Leaderboard. Even Hun Tian hadn't made it onto the leaderboard. How terrifying would such a person be? No wonder their eldest senior brother was so shocked. However, there were also people who said that no matter how strong Lin Wuti was, could he fight against Hun Tian? That was the double crown king. Indeed, everyone was worried. The eldest senior brother of the Tao One Holy Ground smirked. I don't know who is stronger between the two of them. Perhaps the double crown king is stronger, but that might not be the case now. According to the information I received, the body walking outside is a clone of Hun Tian. It's not his main body at all. This clone strength is only at the imperial prince level. It's impossible for him to suppress Lin Wuti. Unless his main body comes personally, there will be a good show to watch this time. This eldest senior brother was very powerful. The Tao One Holy Ground also had an extraordinary background. After the recovery of the world, their great path laws were even more terrifying. The eldest senior brother was confident that he could defeat everything. However, facing Lin Wuti, he was terrified and didn't dare to fight against him. The surrounding junior brothers were also shocked when they heard this. They didn't know what would happen next. The news of Lin Wuti's soul power being suppressed spread again. When the people in the main hall heard about it, they were stunned. The experts of the Holy Ground couldn't believe it. Even Lin Wuti's soul power had been defeated. The people of the Hun Tian clan also narrowed their eyes. They knew the strength of Lin Wuti's soul power. To be able to defeat Lin Wuti's soul power was probably beyond their imagination. After hearing this, Hun Tian stood up. Extremely terrifying killing intent burst out from his eyes. Who was it? Was this a slap to his face? Beside him, Long Wu also frowned slightly. She said that Lin Wuti's soul power was very strong. To be able to defeat him so easily, it was at least an imperial prince level powerhouse. A young powerhouse? Hun Tian snorted coldly. His eyes were filled with killing intent. So what? I want to see who dares to challenge me. He strode forward. Long Wu rose into the air and followed. The other holy emperors also followed one after another. Jian Shao roared. Whoever dared to offend His Highness Hun Tian was dead meat no matter who it was. This group of people completely alarmed the outside world. One had to know that those who could enter the main hall were all top-notch experts. Behind them stood the sects of the Holy Ground. They were unparalleled. Once they made a move, the entire world would be in an uproar. When these people came out, they were also shocked. It was one thing to hear about it, but when they saw with their own eyes that Lin Wuti's soul power had been suppressed, their vision turned black. Someone really dared to make a move. Who was it? They all looked over. In the next moment, they saw Peacock standing there with a cold expression. The others retreated far away. It was her, someone from the temple. They didn't expect it to be the temple. These people were shocked and quickly told Hun Tian. After hearing this, Hun Tian's eyes burst with a cold light. The temple? Previously, someone seemed to have warned him that the temple might resist. He just didn't expect it to come so quickly. However, so what if it was the temple? No one could stop him from doing what he wanted to do. With a cold snort, he took a step forward, and the power in his body swept out. At this moment, everyone kept retreating. Some people spat out blood. They couldn't resist at all. Even Peacock's face was pale, and her blood was boiling. She couldn't bear it at all. Seeing this scene, Hun Tian sneered. A puny temple dares to go against me? Kneel down and accept your death. A cold voice sounded. Peacock's body swayed. It was as if she was facing a god and couldn't resist this power at all. She was about to die. Chapter 5246. Peacock couldn't resist the terrifying power of heaven and earth. She couldn't help it. No matter how strong she was nothing compared to the double-crowned king. Just as she was about to kneel, a voice rang out. "How dare you touch my people? You must be tired of living." The voice wasn't loud, but it carried a sharp aura. As soon as it appeared, it cut through the power of heaven and earth. Peacock felt her body relax, and the pressure disappeared. She breathed a sigh of relief and smiled at the same time. She knew that Lin Xian had made a move. Hun Tian frowned when he heard the voice. He turned around and stopped looking at Peacock. Instead, he looked at the black-robed man next to her. His gaze seemed to have turned into a divine sword, causing hundreds of cracks to appear around him. "Who are you?" he shouted coldly. "Why, don't you recognize me?" Lin Xian took off his cloak, revealing his real face. Hun Tian frowned. "It's you, Lin Wuti." He guessed that the only person who dared to challenge him and help the temple was the temple lord, Lin Wuti. It seemed that it was true. The people around exclaimed when they heard it. "What? Lin Wuti? He's Lin Wuti?" Countless people were shocked. They all looked forward. Lin Wuti's name was like thunder to their ears. He was someone who made it onto the supreme list. Previously, he was even more famous. He was a top genius who swept through everything. Moreover, it was rumored that he was the temple lord. They didn't believe it before, but now it seemed that it was true. No wonder the temple dared to challenge him. It turned out that there was such a terrifying prime behind them. He was Lin Wuti. Jian Xiao was so scared that his scalp went numb, and he almost fainted. Previously, when he challenged the other party, it was as if he had walked one round around the gates of hell. Thinking of this, he couldn't help but step back, hoping that he wouldn't be discovered. Hun Tian shouted coldly, "Lin Wuti, are you challenging me? Is the divine hall going against me?" Murderous intent burst out from his eyes. So what if it was Lin Wuti? He didn't care about killing Xiang Fei, but the fact that he dared to suppress his soul power was a slap to his face. It was a slap to the chaotic clan's face. He couldn't stand it. More importantly, both he and his opponent were top-notch experts. Sooner or later, they would have to fight in the future. Now that he could kill Lin Wuti, he wouldn't be polite. "Your Highness, save me, the saint of all beginnings." Soul Force gritted his teeth. "Kill him and avenge me. Your Highness, please help me." Everyone was shocked. With a wave of his hand, the power of the purest yang erupted and shot toward Soul Force and the saint of all beginnings. Tu's blood. Dead. One of them was an expert from the Handan clan. To his. "Lin Wuti, if you want to die, I will fulfill your wish." The primal chaos law continued to condense on his body. He couldn't help but want to attack. Lin Xian sneered. "You're just a clone. Don't you think you're ridiculous? If you have the ability, call your main body. Maybe we can fight. However, with just this clone of yours, you are still no match for me." Lin Xian's body also erupted with terrifying flames. 6 suns appeared. He was like a sun god. At this moment, the whole world was burning. The surrounding people couldn't bear this power at all. They were shocked. This was the 9 yang divine body, the power of the purest yang. Was this the strength of a supreme being? Previously, when the true spirit world recovered, these genius powerhouses rose up and swept across the world. They became confident. They felt that even if they encountered the buried Emperor's star, they would dare to fight. They didn't even put anything in their eyes. But now, in front of Lin Xian, their confidence was shattered. They were all crazy and about to collapse. Even if they all joined forces, they couldn't resist such strength. This was a young supreme being, an existence that they looked up to. Sensing this aura, Han Tian's face turned cold. Lin Xian was right. He was only a clone, which was the strength of a young powerhouse. If they really fought, his clone wouldn't be able to resist. But he wasn't willing. He was the double crown king, and also a young supreme being. How could he be willing to be suppressed by Lin Xian? Have you thought it through? Do you want to completely offend me? Although you're now on the supreme being list, so what? Your strength can't compete with mine. You're the single crown king, while my main body is the double crown king. Once my main body comes out of seclusion, killing you will be as easy as flipping my hand. Biting cold killing intent surrounded everyone, making them feel as if they were facing a great enemy. Lin Xian laughed loudly when he heard this. Main body coming out of seclusion? How long? 100 years? 1,000 years? Or 10,000 years? If your main body doesn't come out of seclusion, what will you do? With your strength, you want to compete with me? Ridiculous. Lin Xian took a step forward. The sun god fire burned the 9 heavens. At this moment, even the aura of chaos was suppressed. Han Tian gritted his teeth. Damn it, do you really want me to attack? Beside him, Long Wu also walked out. She didn't say anything, but her body emitted terrifying dragon blood. Terrifying illusions of 10,000 dragons roared. Is the 10,000 dragon court going to attack too? I'll fulfill your wish. Lin Xian raised his head and laughed. The flames on his body changed into demonic qi. Black demonic qi surrounded him, turning him into a demon god. At this moment, Lin Xian's aura was too terrifying. It was powerful and domineering. It was as if he could destroy heaven and earth with a single word. Come, I'll allow the 2 of you to fight together. The great destruction spear appeared in Lin Xian's hand, as if he was going to sweep through everything. At this moment, Long Wu was also facing a great enemy. Was this the person who killed the Dragon Prince? The young man who made the 10,000 dragon court feel despair? He was indeed strong. Han Tian was so angry that his face turned green. He was calculating the chances of winning if the 2 of them worked together. However, Lin Xian said, the quintessential world didn't need to be controlled by others. Even if it was, it couldn't be controlled by outsiders. Are you all going to stand on the side of the chaotic tribe? Are you all going to be enemies with the sacred hall? Lin Xian's gaze swept across all directions. At this moment, his eyes were also filled with a biting cold killing intent. The sky fell, and the earth cracked. The powerhouses of the surrounding sacred grounds felt their scalps go numb. At this moment, they were terrified. They hadn't expected that between the 2 of them, it would still be them. This was a dilemma. If they walked over and joined forces with the Divine Union, they would offend Han Tian. They wouldn't have a good ending. However, if they stood on Han Tian's side now, Lin Xian would probably kill them immediately. After all, even the monarch races didn't dare to provoke him, let alone the sacred grounds. In an instant, these people were on the verge of tears. Chapter 52:47. But soon there were people who submitted. They looked at Lin Xian and said, "We are willing to follow Deity's Hall." Previously, Hun Tian was high and mighty, wanting to control the true spirit world. Not all of these holy lands were willing to do so. Therefore, when they saw the opportunity, they immediately stood out, as the first sacred ground stood out. Following that, a few other sacred grounds quickly stepped forward to join in. "We are willing to advance and retreat with Deity's Hall. Greetings, Lin Gongzi. Lin Gongzi is mighty." More and more people leaned toward Lin Xian. This scene stunned the people of the primal chaos race. The expressions of the sacred grounds on the side of the primal chaos race changed drastically. They finally didn't dare to resist. Who wanted to die? Therefore, they could only quickly walk over. "Greetings, Lin Gongzi. Lin Gongzi is magnanimous. Please don't blame us." Yuan Ju and Jian Shao knelt on the ground and kept apologizing. "Lin Gongzi, please spare our lives." This scene was very shocking. Hun Tian's expression became incomparably ugly. Was he defeated by the other party? Damn it. In fact, he didn't know that although he was the double champion, Lin Xian's name was much more famous than his. Moreover, he had been famous for a long time. Lin Xian had killed the Dragon Prince, fought against the 10,000 Dragon Court, and fought against the 10,000 Dragon Court. He even escaped and survived under the attack of an extreme weapon and counterattacked. All kinds of deeds spread throughout the universe, shocking countless people. In the hearts of everyone, he was already a godlike existence. Now that such a person had spoken, who else dared to resist? More importantly, Hun Tian only sent a clone. He couldn't defeat Lin Xian at all. If they didn't submit, Lin Xian could immediately send them to hell. Therefore, after weighing the pros and cons, they all submitted to Lin Xian. At this moment, only 3 forces stood on Hun Tian's side. Apart from the primal chaos race, there was the all-beginnings sacred land and the 10,000 Dragon Court. Everyone's expression was incomparably ugly. What? Not convinced? I'll give you a chance to challenge me. Lin Xian pointed his sword forward. The others were in an uproar. Were they really going to fight? Even the faces of the Hunan tribe changed. Hun Tian remained silent. His eyes grew colder and colder. Lin Xian laughed. "You don't dare? If you don't dare, kneel down and kowtow to apologize. I can spare your life. You're courting death." Hun Tian was so angry that he trembled, and a terrifying radiance burst out from his eyes. "Even if I'm just a clone, I can still defeat you." He roared at the sky, and the aura of chaos on his body condensed into the sword of chaos. It transformed into a divine sword and slashed down from the sky. Countless people were shaken and quickly retreated. Even though it was just a clone, it was still a young tycoon. With the strength of an imperial prince, this sword strike was unparalleled. Lin Xian looked at this sword and laughed loudly. "I won't bully you. I'll fight you with one hand." Naturally, Lin Xian wouldn't go all out against his opponent's clone. One of his hands was behind his back, while the other hand reached forward to grab something. His 5 fingers seemed to have transformed into 5 divine swords that swept in all directions. An earth-shattering sound was heard. The two collided with a sonorous sound. The surrounding people were shocked. Lin Wudi was too powerful. He actually let his opponent use one hand. Could he win? The people of the Hunan tribe gritted their teeth. Damn it, he's too arrogant. Let's see how His Highness will kill him. The sword of chaos split heaven and earth. With an angry roar, the sword slashed out with the power to split heaven and earth. At this moment, the entire sky shook violently and countless large cracks appeared. Countless people were so scared that their scalps went numb. What kind of sword was this? It was too terrifying. Lin Xian shouted coldly, "You want to compete in sword techniques? I'll grant you your wish." Lin Xian waved his arm, and 2 rays of black and white light condensed on it. Then they turned into a sword light and slashed down. It was an arc-shaped sword light. As soon as it appeared, it seemed to carry hope and destruction. This sword strike stunned everyone. They could feel a terrifying great Tao circling around them. What a terrifying sword. Buzz, clang, the sword light flashed, and there was a thunder-like sound in the air. The sword of chaos was sent flying, and there was another sword light on Hun Tian's body that pierced through his body. Whoosh. There was no blood dripping because it was just a clone. However, it was even more terrifying. The clone's body was blurry, as if it was about to disappear. Countless people were terrified. Is he injured? He injured Hun Tian with 1 sword. How terrifying. Even Long Wu's pupils constricted. She realized that if she were to face this sword, it would be difficult for her to block it. Unless she took out her trump card, but then she would have lost. After all, Lin Wudi didn't even use a weapon. This was impossible. The people of the Hundan tribe roared crazily. They couldn't accept it. The people of the myriad races, Holy Land, were also stunned. This made them feel terrified. Hun Tian's aura weakened. He gritted his teeth and asked, "What sword technique is this?" "This is a sword technique that I created after comprehending life and death. It's called Origin Restoration," Lin Xian said coldly. Self-created sword technique. Hun Tian's pupils constricted. The sword technique that Lin Xian created is actually so terrifying. Long Wu and the others were also shocked. They originally thought that this was a legendary technique of the great emperor, but who would have thought that it wasn't? Has he grown to the point where he can create a peerless sword technique? This person is too terrifying. Lin Wudi, you are worthy of my full strength. When my main body arrives, we will have a true battle. Hun Tian's cold voice sounded. He turned around and left with his people. Lin Xian sneered. "You want to leave? Do you think that 1 sword is enough? Stay." Since Lin Xian treated him as an enemy, how could he let him go? Another sword slash was made. This sword was even more terrifying. The laws of yin and yang danced, and the Taiji diagram appeared, turning into the god of yin and yang. One was extremely powerful, sweeping everything away. The other was cold, turning into the god of death, destroying everything. As soon as the 2 of them attacked, they pounced towards Hun Tian. Hun Tian roared, "You are courting death, light of chaos." With a roar, a shocking light flickered in his eyes. Then he tore through the void. These 2 rays of light were too terrifying. It was as if they had turned into eternity. When they hit the yin-yang god, they also let out an earth-shaking sound. "Hurry up and attack together." He roared at Long Wu. However, Long Wu turned around and left with the people of the nest of 10,000 dragons. "Damn it! How dare you leave me?" Hun Tian almost vomited blood. "This is too unreliable. Your Highness, let us help you." The powerhouses of the Hun Tian clan and the other clans shouted angrily. They wanted to attack, but the yin-yang god fused into the Sword of Unity and slashed over again. This sword not only contained the power of yin and yang, but also the power of the great dragon sword soul. It was indestructible and incomparably sharp. In the blink of an eye, Hun Tian's body was split into 2 halves. Under this sharp aura, his broken body couldn't recover at all. Destroy. The yin-yang image rotated and destroyed his broken body, turning it into endless chaotic aura that floated in the void. Was he destroyed? The surrounding people were dumbfounded when they saw this scene. Chapter 5248. Everyone was dumbfounded by the scene before them. They had never imagined that Lin Xian would dare to kill Lin Xian. The All Beginnings Holy Lands people were dumbfounded. The Primal Chaos Race's experts roared crazily. "Damn it! You actually dared to attack?" Lin Xian sneered. Why wouldn't I dare? It's just a clone. Even if his main body was here, I would still kill him. The primal chaos race's people were furious. They looked at Lin Xian, their expressions constantly changing. In the end, they didn't dare to attack. Had their plan been destroyed? In the distant palace above the clouds, the people from the pure, cleansing, immortal platform were similarly shocked. Was this Lin Wuti? He was truly too powerful. Qing Tan sighed. They had originally thought that Hun Tian's plan was perfect, but who would have thought that they would meet Lin Wuti? Everything would turn to ashes. Lin Wuti was too powerful. The people from the other holy lands were also incomparably shocked. They were now rejoicing that their previous choice had been correct. If they had chosen to stand on Hun Tian's side, they would have probably gone to hell by now. After all, Lin Wuti dared to kill Hun Tian's clone. He wouldn't put them in his eyes. For a time, the geniuses of the Holy Lands quickly paid respects to Lin Xian. They were very careful, not daring to offend him. Their young master had become stronger again. Yunyu was shocked. Peacock's lips curled into a smile. Very good. This was the result of going against their deity palace. With Lin Wuti, their deity palace could sweep through everything. Looking at the stunned faces around him, Lin Xian's lips curled into a smile. With a wave of his sleeve, the primal chaos aura that filled the sky disappeared. Then he walked towards the throne in front of him and smiled. Everyone, since you want to form an alliance with my deity palace, let's talk. Lin Xian's lips curled up. The people from the other holy lands were stunned. Then they sighed. It seemed that they couldn't make any other choice. In the distance, the people from the pure, cleansing, immortal platform were also shocked. This Lin Wuti wanted to reap the benefits without doing anything. Should we attack? They looked at Qing Tan. Qing Tan said, just now, he killed Hun Tian's clone with a single sword strike. Just how strong had he become? No one knew. I didn't have full confidence that I would succeed. The geniuses behind him also sighed. It seemed like there was no way for them to make a move. Those from the Hunan tribe were roaring madly. Let's see who dares. Extremely terrifying killing intent erupted from their eyes. The surrounding holy lands were stunned once again. Lin Xian snorted coldly. I don't even put Hun Tian in my eyes, let alone you guys. He clapped his hands, and 6 suns flew out, burning the 9 heavens. In the blink of an eye, it enveloped the primal chaos tribe. Those people tried their hardest to defend themselves. However, they were simply unable to do so. 2 of them tried to escape, but they were killed by Lin Xian's 6-Dao fist. Until now, none of the members of the Hunan clan had perished. Does anyone have any objections? Lin Xian spoke again. Those holy lands shook their heads one after another. They didn't dare. They were willing to form an alliance with Deity Hall. Very well, Peacock, I'll leave the rest to you. Lin Xian smiled. Peacock was also delighted. This was originally prepared by Hun Tian. Hun Tian had specially arranged this banquet in order to integrate the power of the quintessential world. Who would have thought that it would benefit them in the end? This was really great. Peacock naturally knew the importance of this matter. She said, in that case, let's sign an alliance agreement. With a wave of her hand, a scroll flew out, a blood oath to form an alliance. The other holy lands had no choice. They knew that from now on, they would have to stand on Lin Wuti's side. However, many people were excited. After all, the power that Lin Wuti had displayed was really terrifying. He didn't even take the Double Crown champion seriously. In addition, he was the only person on the sovereign list. Perhaps in the future, he might really become a great emperor. In an instant, these people all agreed to a blood oath. Very good. Lin Xian's lips curled into a smile. This was really an unexpected surprise. This way, he would have another force to support him. The Sacred Hall and the Divine Union were his forces. The quintessential world was already very special. Now that he had the support of these holy lands, it couldn't be better. Come, everyone, let me give you a toast. Lin Xian raised his wine cup and looked around. Then he drank it in one gulp. To Lin Gongzi, the geniuses of the other holy lands naturally didn't dare to be careless. They all drank it in one gulp. Then the banquet started again. However, the host had changed from Han Tian to Lin Xian. Some of the Holy Land's geniuses were very curious. They were newly risen geniuses and didn't know much about the Sacred Hall. Naturally, they didn't know about Lin Xian's past in the quintessential world. However, there were still some people who knew, and the old men explained it to them. Did you know? This Lin Wuti also came from the quintessential world. The other geniuses were surprised, right? Wasn't he from the buried Emperor's Star? He was the one who went to the buried Emperor's Star later. He had been from the quintessential world before. Back in the quintessential world, he had been known as one of the 5 absolutes, the Middle Emperor. Although he had been young back then, he had been able to defeat the saints. He had been called Lin Wuti. In the end, he had gone to the ancient Star Road with the Yi family's Saint Physique and the others. It turned out that Lin Gongzi had been so powerful before. Heavens, he is my idol. I must learn from him. Cries of surprise rang out one after another. These youths worshipped top geniuses the most, especially someone like Lin Xian, who didn't have a powerful identity but was able to rise from the ashes. They yearned for him. However, there were also people who said that he had killed the Double Crown King's clone. Could he really contend against the Double Crown King? I heard that he was only the Double Crown King. There were also people who said that geniuses were improving every day, and he was the only one who had reached the 4th level. Do you know what it means to be on the sovereign list? There was once someone who was on the sovereign list and became a great emperor. In other words, he had a lot of hope. Everyone was shocked. The sovereign list was for young sovereigns. Even great emperors would appear among these people. Therefore, Lin Xian's future was limitless. Lin Gongzi, you are a magnanimous person. Please forgive us. At this time, Yuanju, Jian Shao, and the others walked over again. They lowered their heads deeply. The experts of the Holy Land behind them were also very nervous. On the other side, the people of the All Beginnings Holy Land were in despair. They couldn't leave or stay. After all, their All Beginnings Holy Land had an extraordinary relationship with the primal chaos race. How would Lin Xian deal with them? Lin Xian glanced at them, and the corners of his mouth rose. Today, my deity's Templar gained a lot of allies. I am very happy. Therefore, I will be lenient. Kneel down and kowtow. Admit your wrongs, cripple your arms, and get out of here. Chapter 52:49. Kneel down and kowtow. Apologize. Cripple your own arms. To top geniuses, this was even more unbearable than death. Therefore, everyone looked at Yuanju, Jian Shao, and the All Beginnings Holy Land. They wanted to know what these people were going to do. When these people heard this condition, their faces turned ashen. This was akin to ruthlessly trampling on their faces. For a moment, they hesitated. At this time, Yunua stood up and said coldly, "What? You still don't understand? Since you don't repent, you can go to hell." Her body emitted an extremely terrifying aura of good and evil. Hearing this, Yu and Ju slashed their bodies with his sword. Could they contend against Lin Wuti? There was only one outcome: death. Therefore, they took a deep breath and knelt down, prostrating themselves on the ground. "Lin Gongzi, we were wrong. Please spare our lives." After saying this, they knelt down and severed their arms. Blood dripped into the void and pierced the ground. These people buried their heads deep into the ground. "All right, scram." Lin Xian waved his hand. These were all ants. He didn't care about them. What he wanted was to intimidate the world. The All Beginnings Holy Land's people naturally didn't dare to resist. They knelt down and severed their own arms. Then they quickly left. The people from the other holy lands rejoiced and heaved a sigh of relief. Lin Wudi's iron-blooded methods had broadened everyone's horizons. They knew that they couldn't become enemies with him in the future. After the banquet ended, Lin Xian brought Peacock and Yunyue away. The others also left one after another. News of what had happened here had spread. For a moment, the entire Yuhua ancient city was shocked. Heavens, what did you say? Lin Wudi and Hun Tian fought? That can't be, right? Those two were incomparably terrifying. What was the result? Lin Wudi easily killed Hun Tian's clone. As expected of a supreme being, he was indeed powerful. Countless shocked voices rang out. The primal chaos race gnashed their teeth and roared. Lin Wudi, just you wait. You're dead. They had already returned to ask Hun Tian's main body to come out of seclusion. Everyone knew that after Hun Tian's main body arrived, there would be a shocking battle between the two sides. At the same time, they were also shocked. Lin Xian's methods were truly terrifying. The princes and princesses were also on high alert. On the other hand, the people from the divine hall laughed heartily. They hadn't expected this gathering to be so fruitful. He had integrated the power of so many holy lands. Lin Xian left the matter of the temple to Peacock and Xingtian. At the same time, he asked about Xia Jiuyo's situation. Xingtian said, the old palace master had not returned yet. Was he in any danger? Lin Xian shook his head. Don't worry, Elder Xia shouldn't be in danger. Lin Xian guessed that Xia Jiuyo's strength was an existence that surpassed everything. He must have had his reasons for leaving. Lin Xian brought Yunyu back. After they returned, those people at the 9-Star Immortal Foundation were all stunned. Madame Purple Star came personally and asked Lin Gongzi, are you all right? Be careful. The primal chaos race may want to take revenge on you. Lin Xian laughed when he heard that. Don't worry if they dare to come. I will send them to hell. Madame Purple Star was shocked. Lin Gongzi, I really admire you. You are my idol. Lin Xian laughed. This brother of his was too polite. Madame Purple Star shook her head. She really admired Lin Xian. Honestly speaking, she was an Immortal Foundation expert, a descendant of the Yuhua Immortal Dynasty. With such an identity, Madame Purple Star had always been high up in the air, looking down on those outside. But now, after getting to know Lin Xian, she changed her mind. Everything Lin Xian did was heaven-shaking. She couldn't help but admire him. Lin Gongzi, make your preparations. The opening of the fortuitous encounter is very close. It's better to adjust your physique to the peak and be prepared at any time. What is the creation? Lin Xian asked. I'm not sure about the details. I only heard that the Yuhua Immortal Dynasty has the Ascension Gate. Once you enter, you will be able to enter the Immortal Ground. Ascension Gate, Immortal Ground. Lin Xian drew in a deep breath. Just the name alone sounded mysterious. The supreme great Tao within would definitely be extremely terrifying. Lin Xian definitely wouldn't miss it. There was still a month's time. He had to make his preparations well. Next, Lin Xian, Yunyue, and the others returned to their seclusion. 3 days later, someone came. Madame Purple Star said, Lin Gongzi, someone is looking for you outside. Who is it? Lin Xian asked. Madame Purple Star gave a simple description. The other party seemed to be from the Violet Palace. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes when he heard that. It should be Qin Xianer. Where was she? Madame Purple Star said that she had returned, but she gave him a scroll. After Lin Xian received it, he started to inspect it. There was indeed a message recorded by Qin Xianer inside. The content was regarding Xin Jingqiu. Lin Xian, Xin Jingqiu has appeared. She is at the Sky Dome Immortal Platform. If you want to see her, you have to be quick. If not, our Manor Lord will arrive soon. Lin Xian kept the scroll and took a deep breath. Sky Dome Immortal Platform? He looked at Madame Purple Star and said, I want to go to the Sky Dome Immortal Platform to see someone. Madame Purple Star didn't ask anything, because now she completely admired Lin Wudi. She would support Lin Xian no matter what he did. She hurriedly brought Lin Xian to the Sky Dome Immortal Platform. The Sky Dome Immortal Platform was also one of the terrifying powers. This place was located in the sky, surrounded by clouds and mist. It was abnormally mysterious. The person who came stopped. A cold voice came from the clouds, and the guards of the immortal platform walked out. Madame Purple Star stated her identity. I am a 9-star immortal platform. He took out a token. So it was young Master Madame Purple Star. I wonder why young Master Madame Purple Star has come to our Sky Dome Immortal Platform. I haven't seen Mo Sangqiong for a long time. I want to see him and spar with him. Mo Sangqiong was also a highly ranked character in the Sky Dome Immortal Platform. Hence, after the guards heard this, they hurriedly invited Madame Purple Star in. After all, Madame Purple Star's identity wasn't ordinary. They came to a palace that was like a paradise. Madame Purple Star stood with her hands behind her back. Lin Xian, on the other hand, stood there and looked around. Golden light flashed in his eyes. He was looking for Shen Jingqiu's whereabouts. Inside the Sky Dome Immortal Platform, there were layers of restrictions and formations everywhere. Lin Xian's heavenly secret divine eye was extremely powerful. He could see through the formations to investigate. And in a courtyard, a middle-aged man frowned and looked around suspiciously. A woman beside him asked, what was going on? In front of them, there was a pill furnace with flickering flames. Obviously, they were concocting pills. The middle-aged man said, I felt that someone was investigating us just now. Impossible. The woman in flames shook her head. Who would be able to investigate the formations around them? Besides, who in the immortal platform would dare to investigate this place? Was it because you were too nervous while concocting pills? Relax a little. Maybe you are hallucinating. The middle-aged man nodded. Maybe. He closed his eyes again. In another mountain, demonic beasts were roaring incessantly. Many people were using illusions to train these demonic beasts. And on the other side of the mountain, there was a medicinal field. There was a figure in red there. She had a beautiful face and was none other than Shen Jingqiu. Chapter 52:50. Found it. Lin Xian retracted his gaze. Then he rose into the air and left the hall. Zixing was surprised. Lin Gongzi, where are you going? He hurriedly followed. After all, this was not their territory, but the Sky Dome Immortal Platform. Along the way, they encountered many array formations. Lin Xian's body erupted with a terrifying aura. A void beast appeared beside him and directly jumped through space. Zixing was very anxious. Lin Gongzi, where are you going? Are you going to the core of the Sky Dome Immortal Platform? There are countless old monsters there. You will be killed. Lin Xian said, I'm going to a mountain peak. There are demonic beasts and herb fields there. I know it's the Fallen Leaf Mountain Range. I'll take you there. Zixing heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, it was not the core place. Along the way, there were also many guards. Zixing lied, saying that he wanted to meet Mo Sangqiong there. Only then did the guards let him go. On the other side, a man in battle armor walked out. He was Mo Sangqiong. After receiving the news, the corners of Mo Sangqiong's mouth curled up. Zixing came to look for me? Sparring? This guy is no match for me. It seems that this time I have to suppress him properly. He walked towards the hall. But when he arrived, he found that the hall was empty. What's going on? Mo Sangqiong frowned. Could it be that the other party knows that he is no match for me, so he left? Where is he? Mo Sangcheong waved his hand. A guard walked in from outside and knelt down on one knee. Your Highness, young Master Zixing has left. Where did he go? Mo Sangcheong frowned. He went all the way east. You may leave. Mo Sangcheong waved his hand. Then he rose into the air and flew out. On the way, he met a few guards. After asking, he learned that Zixing had gone to the Fallen Leaf mountain range. Why would he go there? Mo Sangcheong frowned. An array formation flickered under his feet, teleporting his figure and disappearing. In the Fallen Leaf mountain range, there were countless red leaves dancing in the air. After landing, they turned into a golden color, which was very magical. In this red forest, there was an open space. A medicinal field had been established there. Standing at the edge was a woman dressed in red. She had her hands behind her back, and her chin was slightly raised. Under the sunlight, the side of her face was abnormally dreamy. It was like crystal glass. If someone was here, they would definitely be stunned. This woman was none other than Shen Jingqiu. She gazed at the red leaves fluttering in the sky. No one knew what she was thinking. At this moment, she suddenly frowned and turned around to look at the distant sky. Did someone come? She muttered softly. In the next instant, the void split open and two figures emerged. An expert. What a terrifying aura. Shen Jingqiu immediately fixed her eyes on one of them. That person wore a black robe and had a handsome face. His eyes shone with a golden radiance. It seemed to be able to see through everything. This person gave her a very dangerous feeling. It's really you. It was Lin Xian. When he arrived and saw the figure in front of him, he immediately shouted out in joy. He walked forward. Stop, Shen Jingqiu shouted, and a terrifying aura spread out. Who are you? How do you know my name? Lin Xian was stunned. What do you mean, Don't you recognize me? I'm your big brother Lin Xian. Big brother Lin Xian? A look of confusion appeared in Shen Jingqiu's eyes. He seemed a little familiar. I don't remember having a big brother. Why are you looking for me? Her voice was cold, and it was surprising. What's going on? Don't you recognize me? Lin Xian was even more stunned. He couldn't believe it. Don't joke with me. What's wrong with you? Lin Xian's face became a little cold. Previously, when Qin Xianer told him that Shen Jingqiu had gone to the Purple Mansion, he had a bad feeling. Now, there was indeed a problem. Didn't recognize him. Was it the doing of the prefectural magistrate? Brother Lin, do you know him? Behind him, Zixing was also shocked. This scene was a little strange. Lin Xian didn't reply. Instead, he continued to walk forward. Shen Jingqiu felt a sense of danger. A golden whirlpool appeared on her body, and it emitted a terrifying energy. Don't come any closer. She drew a crack in the ground. If you step over this crack, don't blame me for killing you. Her voice was filled with cold, killing intent. Lin Xian stopped in front of the crack. Pain appeared in his eyes. Do you really not recognize me? That damned Purple Mansion. How dare they attack you? Don't worry, I won't let them off. Lin Xian still wanted to walk forward. Shen Jingqiu's aura condensed, and she was about to unleash an ultimate attack. However, at this moment, the void cracked again, and a figure appeared. He appeared between the two of them. This figure blocked Lin Xian's path. You're attacking me here. Are you not putting the Sky Dome Immortal Platform in your eyes? The man who appeared had a terrifying aura. It was like a piece of heaven, and it was incomparable. Those who block me will die. Lin Xian was infuriated. Now that Shen Jingqiu had such a problem, he was incomparably anxious. Whoever dared to block him would be his enemy. Lin Xian took a step forward. Flames erupted from his body, and he was like the god of the sun, descending to heaven and earth. Stop! Seeing this scene, Madame Purple Star hurriedly shouted. she flew over and said, "Sir, don't attack. I'm Mo Tsangcheong." At the same time, she said to Mo Tsangcheong, "This is a friend I brought here. He has no ill intentions." Friend? Mo Tsangcheong frowned. Lin Xian also didn't attack. The other party should be a highness of the Sky Dome immortal platform. He retracted his palm. Mo Tsangcheong looked at Madame Purple Star and asked, "What are you doing?" Madame Purple Star had a puzzled look on her face. "To be honest, I'm not too sure either." "Lin Gongzi, can you explain?" Lin Xian's gaze was fixed on Xinjingqiu. Mo Tsangcheong frowned. "This, sir, she's a genius of the Purple Mansion Immortal Platform and a guest of our Sky Dome Immortal Platform. If you dare to attack her, don't blame me for being impolite." Clearly, this was a warning to Lin Xian. Madame Purple Star also said, "Lin Gongzi, let's talk things over nicely." She also didn't wish for Lin Xian to offend a highness of the Sky Dome Immortal Platform. Lin Xian glanced at Mo Tsangcheong. "I don't wish to be enemies with the Sky Dome Immortal Platform. It's just that she's my Tao companion. Now that there's a problem with her soul, I have to act to save her." "What? Tao companion?" Mo Tsangcheong frowned. Madame Purple Star was also shocked, but from the looks of it, Lin Xian shouldn't be joking. Mo Tsangcheong said, "This Fairy Shen is the fourth successor of the Purple Mansion Immortal Platform. I've never heard of her having a husband." Are you lying to me?" "Humph," Lin Xian coldly snorted. "I've said it before. The problem with my Tao companion soul is caused by the Purple Mansion Immortal Platform. I have a grudge with the Purple Mansion. If you insist on helping them, don't blame me." Lin Xian didn't wish to be enemies with the Sky Dome Immortal Platform, but if the Sky Dome Immortal Platform wanted to be enemies with him, then sorry. For Xinjingqiu, Lin Xian dared to be enemies with the entire world. Chapter 52-51. You are too arrogant. Mo Tsangcheong was enraged. He was a prince of the Immortal Foundation, and this was his territory. Was the other party threatening him? His face turned cold. At the same time, he frowned. "Madame Purple Star, who is he? Why are you friends with someone who doesn't know the meaning of death?" Madame Purple Star was also anxious. "Don't attack, he is Lin Wuti." "What? Lin Wuti? The Lin Wuti on the Paragon list?" Mo Tsangcheong was shocked when he heard that. He had also heard of this person. Lin Wuti was now a young paragon. He was above all the other geniuses. He didn't expect him to be this person. No wonder he felt like he was facing a great enemy. But so what? Mo Tsangcheong coldly said, "Lin Wuti, I know you have ascended to the 4th level of the Starfall Hall and have the possibility of becoming a great emperor. But that's just a possibility. You are still a great sage. This is the Sky Dome Immortal Foundation, not a place where you can behave atrociously. If you stop now and leave, I will treat you with respect. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite." "Impolite?" Lin Xian coldly snorted. "I have said before that I will take my wife away. Anyone who tries to stop me is my enemy." Lin Xian stomped his foot, causing the earth to crack. The terrifying aura caused the entire Fallen Leaf mountain range to tremble. Countless demonic beasts crawled in the mountain range. Those beast tamers had a drastic change in expression. What a terrifying power. Mo Tsangcheong also felt a terrifying aura. Is this the power of a divine body? Lin Wuti was indeed a paragon, but he wasn't someone to be trifled with. He was also a peak-level genius. His body emitted a boundless aura that seemed to have transformed into the sky. At the same time, countless figures rushed over from all directions. "Your Highness, what happened?" When they saw that someone was confronting their Highness, they all descended one after another. "Who dares to behave atrociously here? Surrender without a fight." Cold shouts rang out one after another. Madame Purple Star's expression changed. Everyone, please don't attack. This is a misunderstanding. Misunderstanding? Mo Songcheong's expression was cold. If he didn't stop, then it wouldn't be a misunderstanding. Madame Purple Star, don't blame me for not giving you face. Lin Gongzi, let's talk things over. Purple Star advised. Lin Xian remained unmoved, but at this time, Shun Jingqiu, who had been silent all this time, spoke up. You are Lin Wuti, the only young supreme martial artist? I want to see what's so amazing about a supreme being like you. Your Highness, can you stop and let me fight? Please help me arrange the battlefield. Was Fairy Shun going to make a move? Mo Songcheong was also stunned for a moment before he nodded. All right, I'll set up the battlefield for you. With a wave of his hand, the Immortal Foundation experts in the surroundings also retracted their law energy. They stood on one side and worked together to set up a formation, forming a battlefield. At the same time, they were shocked. Was the man in front of them Lin Wuti? Did Lin Wuti come to the Sky Dome Immortal platform to behave atrociously? One of them said. It seemed like they weren't here for us, but for Fairy Shun. There was enmity between him and the Purple Mansion. Discussions broke out as Shun Jingqiu walked into the array formation. I don't know why you're looking for me, but it seems like you have a lot of questions. If you can defeat me, I'll explain. Shun Jingqiu said coldly. Lin Xian took a deep breath. All right, but don't worry, I won't hurt you. Hurt me? What a joke. Who do you think you are? You think you can sweep through everything just because you're on the sovereign list? I'll let you know how powerful I am, Shun Jingqiu shouted and slapped her palm over. Her palm seemed to have turned into an immortal seal, descending from the sky with a mysterious aura. Fairy Shun was so terrifying. The surrounding Immortal Foundation experts felt this scene, and their expressions changed. Fairy Shun definitely had the strength of an emperor. She was a young powerhouse. Mo Songcheong also narrowed his eyes. He didn't expect her to be so strong. Previously, he noticed her because of her beautiful face. He didn't expect her strength to be no weaker than his. Lin Xian was also gratified. Qiu Er's improvement was godly. It was just that she didn't recognize him. This was a hidden danger. As he thought about it, he attacked. The vast palm brought along a sea of flames with it as it grabbed out in front of him with a mighty aura. Buzz. The collision between the two was earth-shattering. Lin Xian's palm was as steady as a rock, directly grabbing Shun Jingqiu's hand. He slapped out his other palm, wanting to suppress Shun Jingqiu. Countless people were shocked. As expected of the legendary Lin Wuti, his methods were too strong. Damn it, Shun Jingqiu snorted coldly. She formed a seal with her palm, and suddenly a golden vortex erupted. She pushed Lin Xian's palm away, and at the same time, she shouted and pointed her finger. There was a biting cold saber light on her finger that could split heaven and earth. Lin Xian was also shocked. He shot out a sword chi to fight back. Next, the two of them attacked. The more they fought, the more shocked the crowd was. Everyone had heard of Lin Xian's strength, but Shun Jingqiu's various ultimate techniques left them dumbfounded. Even Lin Xian was shocked. He had never seen these before. These were the ultimate techniques of the Violet Palace realm. It seemed that Shun Jingqiu was valued in the Violet Palace realm. However, what shocked him more was the golden vortex on her body. That was the origin inheritance that she cultivated. As for what it was, he didn't know. It was very likely that it was very dangerous for Qiu Er. Thinking of this, Lin Xian roared angrily and his Abijna changed. The six paths fist transformed into six worlds that enveloped Shun Jingqiu. At the same time, a golden radiance burst out from his eyes. The terrifying power of reincarnation appeared on the Reincarnation Mountain. It seemed to want to suppress Shun Jingqiu's soul. He wanted to see what kind of changes had happened to her soul. He guessed that the Violet Palace realm must have changed her soul. As long as he could find a flaw, he could help Shen Jingqiu recover. The power of the 6 paths of reincarnation appeared, causing the world to change. The surrounding people retreated, and the array was constantly shattering. At this moment, Shen Jingqiu was also suppressed. Her soul was enveloped by Lin Xian's gaze. As if it was about to be torn apart, she roared, and her black hair danced wildly. You want to pry into my soul? You're too naive. Countless golden vortexes spun around her body. In those vortexes, mysterious figures appeared one after another. The golden figure sat, cross-legged like a god. The moment he appeared, the 9 heavens and 10 earths shattered. The people on the Sky Dome immortal platform turned pale. Even Mo Songqiong's pupils constricted. What was that? He felt suffocated. It was too terrifying. It could even threaten his life. He retreated far away. The moment these golden figures appeared, they let out a heavenly sound that blasted in all directions. It caused the 6 paths of Reincarnation Mountain to shake and then collapse. Shen Jingqiu rushed out and slapped at Lin Xian. There were countless vortexes in her palm. The golden figures on them suddenly burst out with a terrifying radiance that swept everything. Not good, Zixing exclaimed. Lin Gongzi quickly retreated. He could naturally feel the terror of the golden figures. The people on the immortal platform were also shocked. Lin Wudy wouldn't die here, right? That was an earth-shattering event. Chapter 52-52. Seeing the golden figure, Lin Xian frowned. It's that thing again. He had seen it before, and the power it carried was too terrifying. He shouted coldly, and demonic aura appeared on his body. A demonic shadow appeared behind him, holding up the heavens and earth. Once it appeared, thousands of demons surged, as if a demon god had been resurrected. Shen Jingqiu's palm stopped, and the light on it was suppressed. The golden figure in the vortex suddenly opened its eyes, like thousands of golden lightning streaking across the sky. Buzz. The demonic shadow behind Lin Xian's back became even more terrifying. At the same time, it raised its palm, and countless demonic runes gathered on it. The confrontation between the 2 mysterious phantoms made everyone feel like they were facing a formidable enemy. Even Lin Xian and Shen Jingqiu were surprised, as if the situation was out of their control. The previous confrontation between the demonic shadow and the opponent was the Dragon Emperor Phantom in the Dragon Prince's body. They did not expect a similar situation to happen to Shen Jingqiu. Lin Xian was surprised. He knew that the 2 phantoms should have many secrets, but now was not the time to think too much. He should take this opportunity to suppress Qiu and then slowly think of a solution. Lin Xian took a deep breath. He decided to activate his sword and suppress Shen Jingqiu with his world. A spatial crack appeared beside him, like a devouring beast, and was about to swallow Shen Jingqiu. Shen Jingqiu shouted angrily, trying to resist. However, she was restrained by the demonic shadow. Not good. Mo Songqiong and the others' faces changed. Stop, they shouted angrily. If Shen Jingqiu was taken away here, not only would they not be able to explain themselves, but they would also lose face. Boom. An earth-shattering sound was heard. This move was like a heavenly palace that fell from the sky, shattering the heavens and earth. It was not Mo Songqiong and the others who attacked, but someone else. In the face of this terrifying attack, Mo Songqiong and the others retreated again. Even Purple Star retreated. Lin Xian's body swayed, and he was instantly teleported. In the next moment, the demonic shadow on his body disappeared, and he stared at the front with a solemn expression, the pinnacle of a great sage. That's right, the power of that palm was at the pinnacle of a great sage. Fortunately, he had summoned the Devil's Shadow, so he was able to dodge it. Otherwise, he would have been torn apart by this attack. Who dared to make a move? Lin looked ahead. There was a woman in a purple robe in front of him. Her body was covered with great dais. There were even black lotus flowers blooming on his robes, making him look exceptionally demonic. Lin Xian frowned. The chief of the Z Mansion. Lin Wudi, you dare to attack people from the Z Mansion? Aren't you afraid that I will kill you? The Purple Mansion headmaster's voice was sharp. She glared at Lin Xian. Lin Xian, on the other hand, was fearless. He sneered. Come at me if you dare. You're a peak great sage, and you're breaking the rules by attacking me. Soon, the Quasi-Emperors will make a move on your Violet Palace Hall. Previously, Lord Alcohol had appeared in the human world and stopped the battle between the Myriad Dragon Dynasty and Lin Xian. At the same time, he warned the world that peak great sages were not allowed to make a move against Lin Xian. Hearing this, the Purple Mansion's mansion master coldly harumphed. Don't think that you can continue to be arrogant just because you have a quasi-emperor protecting you. There is more than one quasi-emperor in the world. You've offended Han Tian. You're finished without us doing anything. Leave quickly today. Otherwise, even if I don't kill you, I'll make you suffer. What did you do to Chiu-Er? Tell me, and I'll release her soul seal. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite. A sharp sword in 10 appeared on Lin Xian's body and shot into the sky. No matter what, he had to save Chiu-Er today. So, what if she was the Purple Mansion's mansion master? At most, he would activate the Sky-Devouring Jar. Or he could use the Great Dragon Sword Soul to attack. Young man, you're playing with fire. The Purple Mansion's mansion master was furious. Although Lin Xian had countless trump cards, she was the mansion master. How extraordinary was her status? How could she be threatened by a young man? The battle was about to erupt. At this moment, the sky darkened. The sun had set, and the moon was rising. This was the change of day and night. It was a normal thing. Lin Xian didn't care. He wasn't in the mood to care about these things. However, Shen Jingqiu's expression changed. The coldness in her eyes slowly disappeared. It was replaced by a look of doubt. Brother Lin Xian, are you here? Lin Xian's body shook. Chiu-Er, you've recovered? He was overjoyed. The Chiu-Er in front of him was the Shen Jingqiu he knew. She wanted to run over, but was stopped by the Purple Mansion's mansion master. Don't forget our agreement. The old woman let go of her. Lin Xian shouted angrily. Sword Qi appeared on his body again. Shen Jingqiu stopped. She said, I know. Brother Lin Xian, you don't have to worry about me. I'm fine. Go back first. I'll find you one day. Chiu-Er, what happened to you just now? What kind of cultivation technique are you practicing? Shen Jingqiu shook her head. I don't know. I only know that I'm different in the day. Anyway, you don't have to worry too much. Not the same? Lin Xian furrowed his brows tightly. Mo Tsangqiong and Zixing were also surprised. What kind of cultivation technique is this? It's too strange. All right. Lin Xian retracted his hand and looked at the Purple Mansion's mansion master again. Listen, if you dare to hurt Chiu-Er, don't blame me for being impolite. After he finished speaking, he turned and left. Zixing quickly followed. Did he leave? The people on the immortal platform heaved a sigh of relief. They didn't know why, but they felt even more pressured just now. The Purple Mansion's mansion master looked gloomy. A young man dared to threaten her. She would make him regret it one day. All right, come with me. She turned to look at Shen Jingqiu and said in a deep voice. Her attitude toward Shen Jingqiu was not like an elder facing a junior. She seemed to value her a lot. What was the Purple Mansion's plan? Shen Jingqiu and the others left. The immortal platform quieted down again. This matter was not spread. Mo Tsangqiong ordered a lockdown. At the same time, the atmosphere in the Yuhua ancient city became tense. This was because there were only 10 days left before they could seize the opportunity of fortune. 10 days later, whether or not they could improve further would really depend on their luck. After Lin Xian returned, he went into seclusion to cultivate. After a few days, Yan Ruyu and Murong Qingcheng came out of seclusion. When they heard about Shen Jingqiu, they were also surprised. What kind of cultivation technique was this? Why would Qiu cultivate such a strange cultivation technique? Yan Ruyu also frowned. It should be a very ancient cultivation technique. You said that she can summon a human figure that is similar to your demonic shadow. I think this cultivation technique is not ordinary. You better be careful. I know. Lin Xian nodded. However, there was nothing he could do. He was not an emperor's son, and did not have an emperor's bloodline. He could only cultivate emperor's cultivation techniques. The only emperor's cultivation technique he had was the demon summoning scripture. Therefore, he could only cultivate it carefully. After this matter was over, he would return to the buried emperor's star and explore the emperor's tomb. Perhaps he did not need to do so. After all, the Yuhua immortal dynasty had produced emperors before. This time, they were invited here for supreme power and opportunity. Perhaps there would be an emperor's inheritance. Chapter 52-53. Finally, the day had arrived. The hall master of the 9-star immortal platform gathered everyone. Madame Purple Star had come to invite Lin Xian, Yan Ruyu, and Murong Qingcheng. Apart from them, the 9-star immortal platform had also invited others. For example, the Heavenly Snake Clan. There were also some top-tier experts. When these people saw Lin Xian, they all sucked in cold breaths. One had to know that Lin Xian was currently the only young paragon. During this period of time, someone had divided the geniuses who had come to the Ascension Dynasty into many ranks. The most powerful one was the one who had made it onto the young paragon list. Only one person was Lin Xian. He was above everyone else. Those below him were called the young titans. Those at this level were those who had the strength of an emperor. For example, there were some princes and princesses, as well as those who had cultivated the great emperor's ancient scripture. Below them were the top-tier geniuses. These people were also extraordinary. Perhaps they had powerful saint artifacts or secret techniques. In any case, they couldn't be underestimated. Everyone, please come with me. The hall master of the 9-star immortal platform rose into the air, and everyone followed. At the same time, the other immortal platforms in the ancient city also began to move. They gathered in the depths of the ancient city, where they would open the Ascension Gate. There was a plaza in the depths of the ancient city, and many people had already gathered there. Lin Xian also saw some familiar faces, such as Yi Wudao, Kun Pingzi, Gu Feng, Yao Guang, and the newcomer Long Wu. Shen Jingqiu and the people from the Purple Mansion were also there. These people also turned to look at Lin Xian. Among them, there were many people who had cold-killing intent in their eyes. Lin Xian didn't care. He was looking forward to these people making a move on him. On the other side, the people from the Starfall Immortal platform had also arrived. After they arrived, they gave Lin Xian a scroll. Speaking of which, there is some information here. Your Highness, please take a look. Also, Your Highness, you must be careful and return safely. All right, I got it. Lin Xian smiled bitterly. The Nebula Immortal Foundation really treated him as its young master. The others were also shocked as they discussed. This Lin Xian's luck was truly good to be able to gain the favor of 2 Immortal Foundation experts. However, there were also people who snorted coldly. They knew that the other party was about to die. The other party had slain Hun Tian's clone, and it was said that Hun Tian's main body was currently on the way here. A day later, those Immortal Foundation Hall lords all walked out, standing in 8 different directions. They formed seals with their palms. Open the ascension gate. These people cut open their palms. Blood dripped down and merged into the void. The void in front of him cracked open, and a mysterious door appeared. It was unknown where it led to. What a mysterious aura. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes as he looked at the ascension gate. It was said that behind the mysterious door was the deity ground. What kind of magic awaited him? He was looking forward to it. Let's go. Purple Star would also go this time, and he would still stay with Lin Xian and the others. Lin Xian and the others nodded and walked forward. At the same time, the others also entered, vanishing from sight. Staring at the disappearing silhouettes, the eyes of those Immortal Foundation experts flickered. They wondered how many of them would be able to obtain good fortune. For every Immortal Foundation expert, there were people heading there. For example, for the 9-star Immortal Foundation expert, Purple Star went there. That Chen Mu from before also entered. For the other Immortal Foundation experts, there were also people at the peak of the Immortal Foundation level who entered. One could even say that these people were the main force, because they knew more information. The reason why they invited the other geniuses was because they wanted to have a greater chance. After entering, what greeted them was a mystical place. It was like a brand new world, incomparably vast with no end in sight. The aura here was abnormally terrifying, and everyone could feel the pressure. Our strength is suppressed here. Those from the Sky Serpent race furrowed their brows. Yen Ruyu's eyes flickered. What a terrifying aura. In here, they were unable to unleash their full strength. Indeed, because they had to divert a portion of their strength to resist the pressure here. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. He was also shocked in his heart. He wasn't unfamiliar with this pressure. This world was similar to his sword world. The pressure was extremely terrifying. One had to know that when he first entered the sword world, it was difficult for him to move an inch. Now, he had already adapted to the sword world, and at this moment, the pressure here was slightly smaller than the sword world. Therefore, although it was terrifying, it was equivalent to nothing for Lin Xian. He wasn't affected, but that didn't mean that the other geniuses weren't affected. Even the big shots were affected here. They could only unleash about 70% of their strength, and those top geniuses would probably be suppressed even more terrifyingly. Roar. At this moment, roars came from the distant forest. Some demonic beasts rushed out. There were a total of 5 demonic beasts. Their bodies were huge and abnormally terrifying. The killing intent emitted from their bodies was extremely shocking, so terrifying. Even those top geniuses were shocked. In this place, every step was filled with killing intent. They had to be careful. Yunyu walked out, formed a seal with her palm, and slapped out. Angel Staff, Devil Blade. The power of good and evil was used by her, sending 3 demonic beasts flying. The other 2 were sent flying by the people on Chenmu's side. These demonic beasts seemed to have grown up here since they were young, so they were not affected by the pressure. We have to be careful. Zixing and the others frowned. Chenmu said, "Everyone, good luck." After saying that, he waved his hand and left with his people. Lin Gongzi, let's go as well. Zixing took a deep breath and also soared into the sky. Not only Lin Xian's side, but the others also felt a huge pressure after entering. However, there were also people who were excited. In such a mysterious world, the demonic beasts inside were far superior to those outside. Then the spiritual medicines here would definitely be more terrifying than those outside. If they could obtain some heavenly treasures, then their strength would increase by an astonishing amount. A ray of light flashed, and a man entered. There was no light on his body, but he could devour light. He was Yao Guang. Yao Guang, the corners of his mouth raised. There shouldn't be anyone at the peak of the great sage realm coming in here. That way, I can attack without any scruples. This time, I must taste the blood of the emperor. His eyes erupted with a sharp killing intent. Others were here to look for heavenly treasures, but he was here to hunt down the young giants. Buzz. His figure flickered, and he quickly disappeared. In another void, Gu Feng, Yi Wudao, and the others appeared one after another. At the same time, outside, a ray of light streaked across the sky with the power to split heaven and earth. The people guarding outside all turned their heads to look. What a terrifying aura! Even some of the elders of the older generation were shocked. The pupils of the people on the immortal foundation shrank. This was the power of primal chaos. The people on the Greenwood Immortal Foundation were shocked. It seemed that Hun Tian's main body had come. Chapter 52-54. A figure descended like an ancient god. His appearance shocked everyone. He was Hun Tian. This time, his true body came personally. Was this the power of the double-crowned champion? Those elders were also terrified. Hun Tian walked over and looked ahead. This must be the Ascension Gate. He walked in. Lin Wudi, just you wait. I'll make sure you die without a burial place. His cold voice made people's scalps tingle. It seemed that Hun Tian was here for revenge. This was going to be interesting. This was the true double champion. No matter how strong Lin Wudi was, would he be able to withstand it? Inside the deity ground, everyone had already scattered. Some acted alone, while others formed small teams and moved together. Among them, there was a team of 4 people. This team was very terrifying. These 4 people came from different places. They were all geniuses of the true spirit world's sacred grounds. They worked together to investigate. There was a valley in front of them. There seemed to be a medicinal fragrance coming from inside. In their opinion, there should be a set of precious sacred herbs inside. If they could get it, it would be very beneficial for them. These people went in and fought with the demonic beasts inside. It was earth-shattering. At this time, a figure descended from the sky and entered the valley. Who was it? Come out! In front, the people of the Dayan's sacred ground roared. Their sword chi swept out. Was someone trying to take advantage of the situation? The people of the 5 elements sacred ground also roared. However, that person didn't hide at all and walked in directly. With just you guys, I don't need to take advantage of the situation. Who are you? They frowned when they saw the figure in front of them. The other party didn't emit any aura. How dare he come alone? Humph, courting death. Kill him first. These people didn't attack the demonic beasts in front of them. Instead, they turned around and attacked the figure behind them. The 4 of them attacked together. Go to hell. A terrifying power erupted. Great wilderness hunter hand. The figure behind waved his hands and tore a crack, tearing one of them in half. The other 3 people's expressions changed drastically. So terrifying. Take out your ultimate techniques. The 3 of them didn't dare to be careless and used their strongest techniques. The figure sneered. You guys are pitifully weak. He stretched out his hands and turned them into 2 vortexes, enveloping the 2 of them. The 3rd person was kicked away, his head turning into a bloody mist. Boom, boom, boom. In the blink of an eye, for people were seriously injured. They let out terrified roars. The 4 of them were all top-notch geniuses. If the 4 of them joined forces, how terrifying would that be? But now he couldn't even block a single move from his opponent. That person waved his right hand and destroyed the 2 of them. Then the black vortex began to devour the blood. Damn it. Could this be the legendary devouring heaven demonic art? You're that light-shaking realm cultivator. Run. The 2 of them were terrified. This was a legendary, forbidden martial art. Don't you think it's too late to find out who I am now? Yao Guang laughed coldly as he easily killed the other 2. Then it swallowed all of their power. Not bad. Yao Guang's lips curled up. This training ground was really too good. In the past, if he wanted to find such a genius, he would have to search the entire world. But now, the Yuhua immortal dynasty gathered all these people in one place. When he took action, his efficiency was much higher. He believed that when he got out, his strength would undergo an earth-shattering change. When the demonic beast in front saw this scene, it was also frightened and prostrated on the ground. However, Yao Guang didn't let it go. He directly swallowed this behemoth. The last sacred medicine was going to be taken away by him. On the other side, Lin Xian and the others also set off. They moved forward courageously because their strength was really too strong. Although they were few in number, they were all top-notch powerhouses. Lin Xian himself was a supreme being, while Yan Ruyu and Murong Qingcheng were young powerhouses. Even Madame Purple Star had the strength of a young powerhouse. Such a lineup was heaven-defying. They were fearless. Madame Purple Star had a scroll in her hand. Lin Xian also had a scroll in his hand. This scroll was given to him by the Nebula Immortal Platform. Some information about the deity land was recorded on it, and there was also a simple map. He compared it with Madame Purple Star's and found that it was generally the same, but the details were different. It seemed that the information obtained by each immortal platform was different. In this way, Lin Xian and the others combined the two scrolls, and the information was more complete. The map shows that there seems to be a tribe ahead. With our speed, we should be able to reach it before dark. Should we go over? A tribe. Are there natives here? Murong Qingcheng was surprised. Who lived in the celestial land? Are they the legendary immortals? I don't know. Madame Purple Star shook her head. Lin Xian also said, "Let's go and take a look." He was also very interested. The group of people sped up and flew forward. Finally, they arrived at the tribe before evening. The tribe wasn't big, and it looked very simple. The arrival of Lin Xian and the others surprised the people in the tribe again. "Are there more guests? Please come in." An old woman walked out. She was wearing cotton clothes with patches on her body. Her voice was very kind, but her appearance was very strange. Lin Xian and the others could see that not only was this not a human, but it was a demonic beast. It was a demonic wolf with a green glow all over its body. This was a green wolf, a rare beast of heaven and earth. She actually walked upright like a human. It was really strange. Yan Ruyu was surprised. Normally, when a rare beast of heaven and earth cultivated to this level, they would still maintain the appearance of a demonic beast and disdain to transform. Otherwise, they would directly transform into a human. However, this was the first time they saw a demonic beast that was similar to a human. Could it be that these people couldn't transform due to special reasons? They didn't know. "You guys have come from afar. Come in quickly." Granny Green Wolf invited Lin Xian and the others in. Not only Granny Green Wolf, but the demonic beasts in the tribe all maintained a ferocious appearance, but they looked like humans. Not only did they walk upright, but they were also very kind and polite. "This is a strange tribe. Be careful." Lin Xian reminded them in a low voice. The few of them nodded, but they weren't too afraid. With their strength and lineup, what danger would there be? They were confident that they could leave. After entering, they found that they weren't the only ones who had arrived. There were others before them. It was the Heavenly Rock clan, the people of the Fate tribe. When they saw Lin Xian and the others, they were stunned. Especially the Fate tribe, they gritted their teeth. There was even a murderous intent in their eyes. Not only did they have murderous intent towards Lin Xian, but they also had murderous intent towards Yunyu. Yunyu, as the number one genius of their family, had actually become someone else's servant. This was a slap to their face. "Humph, let's go." The people of the Fate tribe gritted their teeth and snorted. They couldn't beat Lin Wudi now. However, they didn't want to be with Lin Wudi. So they prepared to leave the tribe. At this moment, Granny Green Wolf walked out and said, "You guys better not leave." Chapter 52-55. Hearing that, the Fate clan was enraged. "Why? Are you trying to stop us?" They were afraid of Linwoody, but it didn't mean that they were afraid of the people in the tribe. Suddenly, the aura of good and evil burst out from their bodies. It was terrifying. Granny Green Wolf sighed. "Don't be angry. I'm not trying to restrict you. It's getting dark, and it's dangerous outside." "It's getting dark? Dangerous?" The Fate clan sneered. "Granny, do you think we're 3 years old? So, what if it's getting dark? We can go anywhere in the universe. Let's go." They waved their hands and left. Granny Green Wolf sighed. A black bull walked over. He was wearing a loose robe and held 2 hammers in his hands. He snorted coldly. "A bunch of reckless people. They'll regret it. What's going on?" Murong Chingcheng was also confused. The black bull said, "This place was very dangerous. If they went out at night, they would die. Therefore, they could go out during the day and stay in the tribe at night. That was the safest place." When Lin Xian and the others heard this, their brows furrowed even tighter. They said that they would stay and observe the situation. They weren't too sure about the deity ground. Was there any magical power? They stayed in the tribe for about the time it took to brew a cup of tea. Suddenly, there was a scream from afar. "Save us! Let us in!" The scream was filled with fear. The people in the tribe were alarmed. Lin Xian and the rest walked out. The Tianpeng clan was also surprised. Bailey Wuck frowned. It was the Fate clan. That's right, it was the people who left earlier. But only 2 of them returned. One of them was still injured, while the other had a pale face and was trembling uncontrollably. "Why are there only 2 of you? Where are the other 3? Bailey Wuck asked. "Dead." The 2 of them were terrified. "There's a demon." They were extremely afraid. "What happened?" Bailey Wuck asked. Yen Ryu also said, "Tell me what happened." However, the 2 of them shook their heads. "We don't know. We only know that something is attacking us. Something inexplicable? Is it an illusion?" Lin Xian asked. "With your strength, you should be able to see it clearly, right? Damn it, don't look down on us. We're still top-notch geniuses. Whether it's an illusion or not, we can tell. Lin Woody, if you don't believe me, why don't you go out and try it yourself?" Lin Xian furrowed his brows tightly. However, the tribesman walked out and said, "Young master, don't go. Don't go outside when it's dark." What was out there? Madam Purple Star and the others were very curious. Granny Green Wolf sighed. "There are unknown things outside that we don't know about. Let's stay here for now and investigate during the day." Lin Xian also felt that something was amiss. He wasn't willing to take risks so easily. The group settled down. When night fell, everyone was cultivating. The next morning, an accident happened. The 2 Fate clan members from yesterday were nowhere to be seen. Could it be that these 2 fellows didn't know what was good for them and left again? Everyone frowned and shook their heads. They didn't care if the other party was courting death. However, there was another matter that exceeded everyone's expectations. Murong Chingcheng walked over and said with a frown, "Yun, you was unconscious." Hearing this, Lin Xian walked over and checked. Then his face turned cold. Yunyu's body was cold, and she seemed to be dead. What happened? Who attacked? Lin Xian snorted coldly. A terrifying aura appeared, and the entire tribe seemed to be covered by 100,000 mountains. The people in the tribe were all alarmed. They looked at Lin Xian in shock. "Young master." Granny Green Wolf walked over. Lin Xian said, "What happened last night? Why did my companion become like this?" Granny Green Wolf and the others went to check and were stunned. How did this happen? Uncle Black Bull was also stunned. I'll go find Elder Pegasus." He hurried over. Not long later, an old man walked over. It was a Pegasus with an old face. He walked very slowly. When he arrived, he exclaimed, "Her soul was gone. Did she go out?" "She shouldn't have." Yan Ryu shook her head. "If she went out, they should have noticed." Lin Xian's brows were tightly knitted together. His soul was gone? An extremely terrifying light burst out from his eyes and shrouded Yunyu. What happened? He had planted an imprint in Yunyu's soul. If her soul was gone, he should be the first to notice. However, he didn't notice it. It was really strange. This place was too scary. What was going on? Although Yu was just a servant, Lin Xian wouldn't allow her to die without knowing why. His expression was cold as he looked around. The people of the Tianpeng race were terrified. Bailey Wuck said, "It has nothing to do with our Tianpeng race. It should be the two people from the Fate race who disappeared." The people in the tribe were also discussing. This was also a big matter to them, especially the Elder Pegasus. After he determined that her soul was gone, those people were stunned. Some people were terrified. How was it possible? Could that thing enter the village? What kind of joke was this? This was definitely impossible. How did her soul disappear? She was definitely taken away by that thing. What thing? What do you know? If you don't say it, don't blame me for being impolite. Lin Xian's sword intent swept across the sky, causing those people to be terrified. "Young master, please calm down. Let me say it." Grandma Green Wolf sighed. "Last night, I told you not to go out because it was dangerous outside. Once the sky turned dark, there would be soul-devouring beasts outside. Whoever went out would have their soul taken away and perish. However, soul-devouring beasts only appear when the sky turns dark and they can't enter our tribe. Only this place is safe. However, we don't know why your companion lost her soul." "Damn it, it was those two people yesterday." Uncle Black Bull gritted his teeth and smashed his hammer on the ground. "I should have noticed it long ago. How could someone who was targeted by a soul-devouring beast come back alive? There must be something wrong with them yesterday." This was probably the only explanation. They were too careless. Based on what the people in the tribe said, once the sky turned dark, those who went out would never return. Yesterday's two people were an accident. They were really careless. What was a soul-devouring beast? Where would they take the soul to? Would they die directly? Lin Xian asked. If her soul was still there, he would help Yunhua find it. The people in the tribe told them about their experiences. Lin Xian and the others were shocked. The people in the tribe knew that they couldn't go out at night. Their tribe seemed to have a mysterious power protecting them. It was fine outside during the day, but once it turned dark, soul-devouring beasts would appear. These soul-devouring beasts were formless and extremely mysterious. However, there was an ancient legend that these soul-devouring beasts wouldn't swallow the souls of others. Instead, they would bring them back and suppress them in the Soul Tower. Chapter 52-56 Soul Tower. After hearing this, Lin Xian's eyes lit up. This meant that Yunyue's soul should not have fallen yet. Since that was the case, he would save her. Where was the Soul Tower? He asked. Could it be that young master wanted to go? Grandmother Wolf shook her head. It's useless, we know the place. But you can't open it during the day, and whoever goes out at night will lose their soul. This was something that couldn't be solved. Don't worry, you just need to tell me where the Soul Tower is. Leave the rest to me, Lin Xian said. Since it was a soul-devouring beast, Lin Xian was not afraid. The other party could take away his soul. He had many trump cards, and he wanted to see how the other party could take away his soul. Also, he guessed that there must be a secret for the soul-devouring beast to put its soul in the Soul Tower. This secret might be related to the soul. They had come to the celestial land in search of opportunities. But What was an opportunity? There was no specific one. Maybe someone would fall down the cliff and find the great emperor's cultivation technique. Maybe they would find an opportunity in the adventure. Now that there was a legend of the Soul Tower, Lin Xian naturally would not give up. Lin Xian asked again, and Grandfather Pegasus sighed. He took out a map and said the place marked by the red, that was where the Soul Tower was. You can go and take a look during the day, but you must come back at night. Got it. Lin Xian smiled, put away the map, and prepared to go. Morong Qingqing said, "We'll go with you." Yan Ryu also stood up. Madame Purple Star said that she would go too. All right, seeing that these people were willing to go, Lin Xian nodded. Then let's see how magical the soul-devouring beast is. They set off. Bailey Wuck did not go. After all, this place was too strange. The people of the Tianpeng tribe also went to look for other opportunities. At noon, Lin Xian and the others arrived, but there was nothing in front of them. There was nothing. It can't be wrong, right? Morong Qingqing frowned. Lin Xian's eyes burst out with a golden light, surrounding everything, but he did not find anything. He said, "Didn't the people in the tribe say that they couldn't enter during the day and would only appear at night? It should be like this. Let's wait. It's only half a day." Lin Xian and the others sat cross-legged, waiting. During this time, several figures flashed past. "Big brother, look, there's someone up ahead." Those people were standing there and not leaving. Could it be that they had some kind of treasure? Let's go and take a look. A few figures soared into the air and flew over. Someone was there. Madame Purple Star and the others below all opened their eyes and turned their heads to look. In the next moment, they saw a few figures descend from the sky. These people had extremely terrifying flaming auras. There were even some places where the scales were flickering. The terrifying aura was shocking. Morong Qingqing frowned. Yan Ryu said, "He is from the Kirin clan." "Correct. We are Fire Qilin Caves people. Emperor clans. Now, I am asking you all, what are you all doing here? Was there a treasure? If you have it, hand it over." 3 figures stood in the sky with their hands behind their backs. Their eyes were filled with confidence. They were great emperor clans, and these people would obediently show them their treasures. So, what if it was Fire Qilin Cave? Get lost. Disappear from my sight before I change my mind. Lin Xian said coldly. He was in a bad mood. "Courting death, you dare to challenge me?" The man in front of the Fire Qilin Cave shouted angrily. A Kirin roar came from his body, and monstrous flames swept across the sky. Lin Xian waved his hand and slashed out, splitting all the flames in the sky. The man in front of the Fire Qilin was also split into 2. The other 2 were stunned. They were terrified. "You dare to kill our Emperor clan's people? Do you want to die? Who exactly are you?" Lin Xian snorted coldly. "My name is Lin Wudi. If you are not convinced, come and find me in Fire Qilin Cave." "What? You are Lin Wudi?" When the other 2 people from the Kirin clan heard this, they were so scared that they fell from the sky. Their faces were filled with fear. This was an existence that had killed the Dragon Prince. With the shadow of a tree and the name of a person, they could not resist at all. Leave quickly." The 2 of them quickly fled, not daring to be arrogant anymore. Lin Xian snorted coldly. He wanted to attack, but at this moment, he stopped because he realized that the sky had darkened. Had night come? Ignoring the 2 people from the Fire Qilin Cave, Lin Xian turned around. When night came, would the Soul Tower come out? In the open space in front of him, the illusion of a pagoda indeed appeared. It was incomparably dark and mysterious. It gradually solidified. There really was Morong Qingqing, and the others were surprised. This place was really strange. During the day, their souls couldn't detect it, but when night came, the Soul Tower would come out. They finally found it. A smile appeared on Lin Xian's face. He stood with his hands behind his back and waited quietly. At this moment, the Soul Tower had not completely solidified. After waiting for about half an hour, the sun had completely set. The surroundings turned into night. A cloud of fog flew out from the Soul Tower and spread in all directions. At the same time, blood-red eyes flickered. These should be the soul-devouring beasts. After they came out, they should have flown in all directions to capture souls. But this time, they were stunned, because they realized that there were 4 figures near them. Buzz, one of the soul-devouring beasts, was very fast. It turned into lightning and flew towards Lin Xian and the others. In an instant, it arrived in front of Lin Xian and the others. The black fog enveloped them. At this moment, Lin Xian slashed out with his sword. The biting cold sword light sent the other party flying. With a roar, the black figure flew backward. "Damn it, who are you?" The voice was abnormally low, making one's scalp tingle. Lin Xian snorted coldly. It could still speak, so it seemed to be a living creature. Pretending to be mysterious, "Hand over the souls of my companions and tell me the secret of the Soul Tower. I can spare your lives." The soul-devouring beast in front was stunned. What did the other party say? Was the other party threatening him? He didn't know what was good for him. He let out a shrill cry, and immediately the surrounding soul eaters flew out. They enveloped Lin Xian and the others. Pairs of blood-red eyes stared at them, making Purple Star's hair stand on end. Murong Qingcheng and the others also frowned. "Stupid humans! How dare you provoke us? These people's souls are very powerful. Capture them and seize their souls. We will be heavily rewarded." They laughed sinisterly. Then a few figures pounced over. Purple Star roared angrily, "Get lost!" He struck out with a palm, and the palm was incomparably vast as it struck towards the soul-devouring beast. However, it was useless. The soul-devouring beast was invisible and directly passed through the palm of stars. It pounced on Purple Star. Purple Star was stunned. Previously, he saw Lin Xian easily send the other party flying with a sword. He thought that the soul-devouring beast was not a big deal, but now it seemed that was not the case. The soul-devouring beast was very strange. In the next moment, he felt that his soul was threatened, as if it was about to leave his body. Chapter 52-57. It was the same for Murong Qingcheng and Yen Ruyu. Their divine abilities were all easily dodged by the other party. Their souls were also threatened. Yen Ruyu snorted coldly, and the phantom of a green lotus appeared behind her. A terrifying aura spread out and froze heaven and earth. At the same time, it protected her soul. On Murong Qingcheng's side, a 7-colored light surrounded her soul and turned into a 7-colored phoenix that soared into the sky. They all blocked this threat. Zixing was also angry, and a purple star appeared between her brows. Murong Qingcheng and Yen Ruyu had extraordinary bloodlines, and Zixing was also extraordinary. After all, she was a descendant of the Yuhua immortal dynasty. For a moment, all 3 of them blocked the attack. This surprised the soul-devouring beasts. These 3 people's bloodlines were extraordinary. Even if they encountered the top genius, they could easily take away the other party's soul. But this time, something unexpected happened. At this moment, someone was staring at Lin Xian. Kill. They felt that Lin Xian didn't have any special bloodline, so they quickly charged over. Lin Xian sneered. "Idiots!" With a wave of his hand, a dragon-shaped sword energy flew out and instantly split heaven and earth. The 2 soul-devouring beasts screamed as they were split in half. "Damn it! What's going on? He can actually hurt us!" The 2 soul-devouring beasts were stunned. One had to know that they couldn't snatch Yenryu's soul, but the other party couldn't hurt them. But this young man in front of them was too strange. He could injure them at first sight. They couldn't get close to him at all, let alone snatch his soul. Since you don't want to say anything, I'll take your souls. Lin Xian's eyes erupted with a golden light that surrounded all directions. At this moment, the heavenly secret divine eyes opened. How laughable! You want to take our souls? The soul-devouring beast sneered. Who could suppress them in terms of souls? These people were disdainful. However, when they saw the golden light of reincarnation, their souls changed. They trembled and were sent flying one by one. There was even a black mist coming out of their bodies. Damn it, what is this? The power of reincarnation. His eyes are so magical. Countless cries of surprise rang out. At this moment, they seemed to have encountered their nemesis. Damn it, these soul-devouring beasts had all gone crazy. At night, they were like gods, and no one could resist them. Even a young magnate like Yun Yu had been captured by them, let alone the others. But now, this kid in front of him was too strange. Not only could it hurt them, that pair of eyes was enough to threaten them. For a moment, they roared madly. There were also some soul-devouring beasts in the ancient Soul Pagoda. These beasts seemed to be of a higher level. The red light in their eyes formed a mysterious pattern. One of them, a tall soul-devouring beast, said coldly, "What was going on outside? Why was it so noisy?" Another soul-devouring beast floated over and said, reporting to the elder, "There seemed to be a few humans nearby." Humans came here? He didn't know what death was. Did they think that they were strong enough to come here and behave atrociously? Activate the surrounding formations to suppress them and seize their souls. Elder, don't worry, I know what to do. The other soul-devouring beasts formed hand seals. Suddenly, the void around them shook, and the Soul Pagoda shone brightly. Countless black chains flew out from within, blotting out the sky and covering the earth. It flew into the distance like a black dragon. Outside, Morong Qingcheng and the others were also stunned. They felt a huge aura fill the air. In the next moment, they saw those chains rushing towards them. Not good. Someone attacked them again. They shouted angrily and used their ultimate skills to block these chains. An earth-shattering sound was heard. A great battle broke out. Those chains were very mysterious. Even if they were attacked by Morong Qingcheng and the others, they would not be damaged. They were just shaken. At this moment, another soul-devouring beast walked out. He held a walking stick in his hand and shouted coldly. A mere human dared to behave atrociously here. Kneel down and submit. As his voice fell, these black chains became even more terrifying. They directly attacked the soul. They wanted to seal the soul. This terrifying scene made Zixing and the others feel as if they were facing a great enemy. Yenryu and the others danced with their divine abilities, but they were still suppressed. It was too terrifying. As expected of something left behind by the Yuhua immortal dynasty, it was a threat to these people. The others would definitely die. What should they do? Should they retreat? Zixing gritted her teeth and said. Morong Qingcheng shook her head. She listened to Brother Xian. She knew that Lin Xian had many trump cards. He should not have used all of them yet. Lin Gongzi, why don't we retreat first and think of a way later? Zixing gritted her teeth and said. He felt that he could not hold on for too long. The way he saw it, Lin Xian might be strong, but he would definitely die if he went up against such a strange ancient soul tower. There was no choice. He had to save Yunyue's soul today. Facing such an attack, Lin Xian was not afraid at all. He formed a seal with his palms, and the golden light in his eyes became even more resplendent. At the same time, a pair of eyes formed in the sky, looking down. As soon as this pair of golden eyes appeared, countless gazes descended. Then, They landed on the black chains. The black chains shook violently. It was as if they had encountered a raging fire and were about to be melted. What was this? This flame was too strange. The surrounding soul-devouring beasts were shocked. Some people said that it was fine. Their chains were made of extremely precious metal. A brat like him would definitely not be able to break it. As soon as they finished speaking, there were cracking sounds around them. Hundreds of chains were burned and broken. How was this possible? The soul-devouring beasts were dumbfounded. They looked as if they had seen a ghost. They knew the power of the chains. Because of this, they were extremely confident. But now the other party had broken it so easily. This guy's strength was too terrifying. Damn it. The soul-devouring beast with a walking stick in the soul tower was even more shocked. The black chains were made of extremely precious metal. Even they did not have any extra. Now that the chains were broken, it made his heart bleed. Damn it. Attack him. The black chains continuously swayed, forming a peerless great formation that shot into the sky. It wanted to suppress that eye. In an instant, the reincarnation fire that erupted from the heavenly secret divine eye became even more terrifying. There were even reincarnation mountains that descended and bombarded the chain array. The battle between the two sides was unusually intense. The soul-devouring beast looked at the golden eye in shock. Why did this eye look so much like the legendary one? But it should not have appeared. Just as it was thinking, Lin Xian shot out sword chi again. The huge sword slashed down from the sky, directly shattering hundreds of chains. No, the soul-devouring beast with a walking stick roared crazily. The other party still had a trump card. He shouted angrily and retreated, closing the soul tower. Today, they had met their nemesis. Let's close the soul tower first. The surrounding soul-devouring beasts were shocked. Closing the soul tower? Did this mean that they had lost? How was this possible? How could a young brat be so terrifying? Although they were unwilling, the scene in front of them still shocked them. They retreated and entered the soul tower. You want to hide? Lin Xian snorted coldly, took a step forward, and charged toward the soul tower. Chapter 52-58. How dare you? How dare you attack? Seeing the other party charging over, the elder in the chaos tower roared angrily and waved his walking stick. Suddenly, 8 pearls appeared around him. These were soul-devouring pearls. 8 pearls could suppress everything. Hee, let's see how you die. The surrounding soul-devouring beast sneered. As soon as the soul pearls appeared, Zixing and the others also felt that their souls were greatly suppressed. Lin Gongzi, be careful, he exclaimed to warn him. Lin Xian, on the other hand, pressed forward. The Hellfire Dragon sword appeared in his hand and slashed around. The sword slashed on one of the soul pearls. You want to go against the soul pearls? What a joke! The elder sneered. The soul pearls directly suppressed the soul. The other party's attacks couldn't be launched at all. Just wait, the other party will definitely die in the next moment. But in the next moment, the smile on his face disappeared. There was a cracking sound in front of him. Lin Xian's sword slashed on the soul pearls. The soul pearls were split in half. How is this possible? How did you split them? The elder was shocked. However, there was something else that shocked him even more. The next 7 soul pearls were all split by Lin Xian. Lin Xian was like a sword god sweeping in all directions. Wherever the sword went, it was unparalleled. It was too terrifying. This sword technique was like a divine sword. There was nothing in the world that could block it, especially the last sword. It even split heaven and earth. The 8 soul pearls scattered on the ground. Puff! The elder with the walking stick spat out a mouthful of blood. He fell from the sky. His face was pale, and he couldn't believe it. Who was this young man? The other soul-devouring beasts were also frightened. They quickly retreated and gathered. Even their elder was defeated. Who could defeat him? Elder, are you okay? They came to the front and asked nervously. The elder stood up with the help of his walking stick. His body was swaying. Retreat quickly. The group quickly retreated into the Soul Tower. Lin Xian was still striding forward. Morong Qingcheng and the others quickly followed behind. The group was very fast. Zixing was stunned. He had never seen such a sword technique before. It was far beyond his imagination. It seemed like Lin Xian was the bane of the ancient Soul Towers. Lin Xian and the others walked in. Inside the ancient Soul Pagoda, countless spiritual auras appeared and charged towards Lin Xian. There were even two elders who quickly launched sneak attacks to kill him. In the end, he was sent flying by Lin Xian's sword strikes and coughed up large amounts of blood. The three great elders were stupefied. Damn it, they actually couldn't do anything to him. Activating the 72 soul swords, the three elders roared furiously, taking out their most powerful trump cards. The sound of a battle resounded between heaven and earth. The 72 streaks of sword light were like flying immortals as they attacked at high speed. Not good. Quickly defend. Morong Qingcheng and the others also roared angrily and defended their souls with all their might. These soul swords were truly terrifying. Let's see how you block it this time. The three elders coldly shouted. The 72 soul swords were formed from the souls of countless powerhouses that they had collected and cultivated for 3,000 years. Back then, they had cultivated 1,000,000 spiritual swords, but in the end, only 72 of them were formed. One could imagine how terrifying these 72 soul swords were. Even if a sage was slashed by a sword, his soul would undoubtedly die. The 72 swords blotted out the sky and covered the earth as they attacked Lin Xian. The void around Lin Xian continued to shatter. Black holes appeared everywhere, and all sorts of terrifying scenes appeared. Lin Xian's soul also shook violently. One could imagine how terrifying these attacks were. He coldly shouted, and a shocking light burst out from his eyes. The hell sword in his hand was displayed to the extreme. The great dragon sword soul roared, and wave after wave of biting cold sword chi swept in all directions. Sword technique, origin restoration. The sword slashed out, drawing an arc that swept across heaven and earth. This was a sword technique that Lin Xian had created himself. Its power was unparalleled. Under this sword, a thunderous sound resounded in all directions. He attacked powerfully like a god of death. The 72 soul swords were all sent flying, and they dimmed, which stone pillars and array formations in the surroundings were letting out cracking sounds. The expressions of the people in the pagoda changed. He was too strong. They were in despair. The three great elders kept vomiting blood. They were completely helpless against it. Please help, Lord Pagoda Spirit. They knelt on the ground and looked up at the ancient soul tower. They kept kowtowing. Now that they were no match for him, they could only ask for help from an even more mysterious existence. No one can save you. Lin Xian's voice was cold as he walked forward. However, at this moment, a cold shout came from above the ancient soul tower. Good. How dare you? How dare you behave so atrociously in the ancient soul tower? In the sky, a palm-sized pagoda appeared. The pagoda was translucent and abnormally terrifying. It transformed into a blurry face. Was this the pagoda spirit? Seeing this scene, the three elders and the other soul-devouring beasts cheered happily. Great, the pagoda spirit has appeared. The pagoda spirit was the second most powerful expert after the pagoda master. He could suppress everything. Once I catch this brat, I must tear him to pieces. Tear his tendons. Skin him? Let his soul suffer for eternity. These people looked ferocious. Ha ha, go to hell, kid. The small pagoda in the sky descended from the sky like an ancient divine mountain, bringing with it terrifying heavenly might. Not good, Zixing and the others were in despair. Lin Xian shouted coldly and rushed up. A black jar appeared in his hand, and he slapped it at the small pagoda in the sky. The two collided, but there was no sound. Instead, the surrounding sounds disappeared. A strange scene appeared. The terrifying small pagoda was directly swallowed by the black jar. A vortex in the sky spun nonstop, as if it could devour everything. What happened? The three elders and the soul-devouring beasts were stunned. They looked up at the sky in disbelief. The second most powerful expert in their eyes, the pagoda spirit, disappeared in an instant. Could it be that he was killed in a single move? This was the hope in their hearts. They couldn't block the other party's attack. They were in despair. Had a young god of heaven arrived? Why was there such a terrifying person? Lin Xian landed with the heaven-swallowing jar in his hand and snorted coldly. What other tricks do you have? The surrounding people trembled in fear and didn't dare to respond. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Let me ask you, where are the souls that you suppressed? Is there a woman named Yinyu? Yinyu? The three elders were stunned. Young master, we collect many souls every day. Which one are you talking about? Humph. Last night, the soul that you suppressed had the strength of a young giant, the emperor's son. Such a soul is rare, right? The three elders were stunned. It's her. They remembered that they had indeed brought back a magical soul yesterday. They knelt on the ground. The young giant's soul was personally suppressed by the pagoda master. It wasn't here. It wasn't here? Lin Xian frowned. Do you want to die? His body emitted a terrifying killing intent. At the same time, a black vortex appeared. The surrounding soul-devouring beasts were terrified. This vortex could even swallow their pagoda spirit. Not to mention them, the three elders kept kowtowing. Young master, please spare us. We don't dare to hide anything. The pagoda master brought that soul to the abyss of souls. Chapter 52-59. Abyss of Souls? What was that place? Lin Xian frowned. He activated his heavenly secret god, and searched the soul tower thoroughly. Indeed, he did not find Yinyue's soul. The Abyss of Souls was an abyss, a sacred place for souls. It was very mysterious. All 36 soul towers belonged to the Abyss of Souls. This time, our pagoda master was ordered to go to the Abyss of Souls. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes when he heard that. It should be an existence even more terrifying than the Soul Tower. But why did he want Yunyue's soul? As a arch-level genius, Yunyue's soul was very terrifying. Perhaps it had some special use. Thinking of this, he snorted coldly. Tell me the location of the Abyss of Souls. After Lin Xian received the information, he snorted coldly and looked in all directions. The purpose of your soul tower is to increase souls, right? Why do you collect so many souls? Is there a cultivation method? Tell me, if you can improve our souls, I might spare your lives. Otherwise, don't blame me for being rude. The three elders were so scared that their faces turned pale. We naturally don't dare to hide anything from young master. However, everything is decided by the pagoda spirit and the pagoda master. Now that the pagoda spirit has disappeared, there's nothing we can do. You're talking about this, right? Lin Xian snorted coldly and waved his sleeve. A vortex appeared and suppressed a small tower. The pagoda spirit, the three elders exclaimed. Lin Xian snorted. Obediently tell me the cultivation method, or you'll fall into hell forever. Damn it. The pagoda spirit roared crazily. Extreme weapon. You're from the large race. The other soul-devouring beasts were also terrified. No wonder their pagoda spirit was suppressed. It was an extreme weapon. These people were definitely not to be trifled with. Lin Xian sneered. It was good that they knew. Next, they obtained the method to cultivate their souls. The few of them sat under the soul pillars and began to cultivate. The power of the entire soul tower gathered and enveloped everyone. After a day, Lin Xian and the others opened their eyes and stood up. Lin Xian roared, and the entire soul tower shook violently. Great! He could feel that his soul had been upgraded. The golden light in his eyes became deeper, and he was very close to the Rinnegan. However, it was still not enough. Morong Qingcheng Yenruyu and Zixing were also overjoyed. Their souls had also been strengthened. Furthermore, it was a great improvement, great as expected of the celestial land. In just one night, they had undergone earth-shattering changes. Was there any power left? Give it to me. Lin Xian and Lung He harumphed. The pagoda spirit was about to cry. There's nothing left. We've been collecting energy for thousands of years, but you've used it all up in a single day. His heart was bleeding. If the pagoda master were to return, how would they explain themselves? Elder brother Xian, don't they have 36 soul towers? We can go somewhere else. Morong Qingcheng said. Yen Ryu also said that it was better to go directly to the abyss of souls. There should be even more powerful soul energy there. That's right. Lin Xian nodded and headed towards the abyss of souls. Firstly, he could continue to save Yunyue. Secondly, he hoped to obtain more power. Let his eyes evolve into Rinnegan. I can spare your lives, but you won't be able to get out for a long time. Lin Xian waved his hand and swallowed the entire soul tower with the whirlpool formed by the heaven-swallowing jar. After I'm done with my business, I'll let you out. Thank you for not killing us. Those soul-devouring beasts kept kowtowing. They didn't dare to resist at all. Lin Xian and the others flew towards the abyss of souls, according to the information they received. After flying for about a day, they arrived at the abyss of souls. The abyss of souls was indeed an abyssal canyon. It was abnormally mysterious. When one soul entered, it was as if it had entered a quagmire. Go! The few of them jumped down. As soon as they entered, angry shouts came from the black clouds. They stopped. A few souls appeared in front of them, blocking their way. Who are you? How dare you barge into the abyss of souls? How bold! Don't you know the rules of the abyss of souls? Only souls could enter here. Otherwise, they would be killed without mercy. They could see that Lin Xian and the others had come in with their main bodies, so they stopped them. How dare you stop me? Lin Xian snorted coldly. Golden light flickered in his eyes. The power of reincarnation charged forward. Cracks appeared on the bodies of the souls in front. No, what kind of power was this? The other party could kill them instantly with a glance. Senior, please spare our lives. They hurriedly kowtowed. We didn't know that Senior was coming. Please forgive us. Can my main body enter now? Lin Xian stood with his hands behind his back and asked coldly. Of course, he could. The few spirits nodded their heads continuously and made way for him. Lin Xian sneered and walked in. It wasn't until Lin Xian and the others disappeared that the souls heaved a sigh of relief. Was that the eye of a god? Why was it so terrifying? I feel like he could kill us with a glance. Which soul tower is he from? Why haven't we seen him before? You don't want to live anymore. How dare you inquire about his identity? He's not an existence we can understand. These people were terrified. They didn't dare to take revenge. As for breaking the rules, they didn't care because these rules were prepared for the weak. The strong should sweep through everything and ignore everything. Lin Xian and the others descended into the depths of the abyss of souls. Morong Qingcheng looked around and said, "What a strange aura." They were all souls. Yen Ruyu was also happy. In this place, they could definitely find the power to enhance their souls. Lin Xian used his soul as he descended. His golden eyes shrouded the surroundings. He began to search for Yun Yu's soul, but he didn't find it. However, he found that the souls below were very powerful. They were definitely at the level of a great sage. Some were even more terrifying. Among them, he found a man in a black robe. The aura of the other party was very similar to the soul tower he was in previously. Lin Xian guessed that this should be the pagoda master. Thinking of this, he snorted. If he found the pagoda master, he would know Yun Yu's whereabouts. Thinking of this, he increased his speed. The bottom of the abyss was incomparably vast. It was shocking. The terrain here was like a gourd. It was narrow in the middle but wide at the bottom. Lin Xian and the others descended, naturally attracting the attention of others. Those who could come here were all soul experts. When they saw Lin Xian and the others come with their true bodies, they were naturally surprised. Immediately, countless gazes fell on these people. Purple Star felt his scalp tingle. Although he was a young tycoon, those who could come here were no weaklings. For a moment, they were facing a great enemy. Which soul tower were these young people from? They didn't follow the rules and dared to come with their true bodies? I think they don't know what's good for them. These two women were not bad. They stared at Morong Qingcheng and Yen Ruyu. Chapter 5260. Such a beauty was rarely seen in their lives. Cold light burst out from the eyes of these people. It would be a pleasant surprise if they could get their hands on her. Immediately, a soul floated over. How should I address this fairy? Is it your first time here? Why don't I bring you along? As soon as he finished speaking, Morong Qingcheng shouted coldly and struck out with his palm. A terrifying seven-colored light carried the Phoenix clan's peerless divine ability as it charged forward. Soul-piercing, with a miserable scream, the soul was torn into pieces. Damn it, how dare you attack? The surrounding souls were in an uproar. They were all dumbfounded. One had to know what this place was. This was the abyss of souls. Who dared to attack here? Was he not courting death? Damn it, kill him! Another three souls rushed over. Morong Qingcheng was cold. He formed a seal with his palm and sent out a phoenix phantom that soared into the 9 heavens. The three souls were sent flying. Lin Xian looked around and looked ahead. He said, I can sense the tower master's aura in the mansion ahead. Let's go. He walked forward. Damn it! Stop them! Don't let them come over. The surrounding people shouted angrily. In an instant, these people attacked one after another. They wanted to suppress the other party. They wanted to see who the other party was for him to be so bold. These people quickly attacked. Purple Star and Yen Ruyu also attacked. Purple Star launched a terrifying Milky Way palm. Yen Ryu condensed and formed green lotuses that covered heaven and earth. Those green lotuses turned into terrifying swords that swept across heaven and earth. A great battle broke out in an instant. The young powerhouses were incomparably powerful. They swept across all the souls in their way, forcing them to retreat. Stay here. At that moment, an angry roar was heard. An extremely terrifying soul appeared. It was the soul of an old man. He was very terrifying. His appearance made everyone's scalps go numb. He was an expert from the second soul tower. He had the incomparably terrifying soul cutter. A single slash would destroy both the body and soul. It was said that this person had once killed 3 sane experts with a single slash. It was truly terrifying. Let's see how these brats will die this time. The old man in the sky shouted angrily. The soul cutter descended from the sky and slashed at Yen Ruyu. Yen Ruyu coldly snorted. She pushed out her jade-like palm, and the green lotus behind her kept swaying. The green lotus divine sword collided with the soul-severing blade. A clanging sound could be heard as the soul-slashing blade broke into two halves. The soul-old man was pierced through by the sword. Defeated? Countless people were shocked. That was the soul-severing blade. They were defeated so easily. The strength of these people was far beyond their expectations. Then Yenryu and the others swept through the area. A few more soul experts came out, but they were all defeated. Some of them were even killed. The others were horrified. This was a young giant. Moreover, there were 3 young giants. It was too terrifying. Why would these people come here? They were all shocked, and no one dared to make another move. Lin Xian did not attack. There was no need for him to do anything here. He walked towards the mansion in front of him. The others were horrified. It couldn't be, right? This guy wanted to go inside. The people inside were all top-notch soul experts. They were all pagoda masters. No matter how strong they were, they would definitely die if they went in. These people must be crazy. In front of them, the mansion was indeed the core area. Even the soul experts outside were not qualified to enter. Those who could enter were all pagoda masters. Inside the mansion, there were 12 thrones that surrounded a plaza. There was a figure sitting on each throne. They were all soul bodies. However, they were abnormally terrifying. The auras on them were as deep as the sea, as if they could suppress everything. Each of them could kill tens of millions of souls with a single move. These people had different expressions. Some were old, some were young, some were beautiful women. However, sitting in the center was a woman, a young woman. This woman was also a soul body. Her face was beautiful, but her eyes were empty. The soul aura on her body was abnormally powerful. This caused the other 11 pagoda masters to exclaim in admiration, "Soul Princess, your aura has become stronger than before. Your strength is even stronger than those imperial princes outside. I think if this continues, your soul will enter its peak state. You are invincible." It was truly a joyous occasion for a peerless expert like the princess to appear in the abyss of souls. After hearing this, the beautiful woman's lips curled into a smile. She was the young master of the abyss of souls. She was also a young top-notch expert. Pagoda masters, you are too kind. I still have a long way to go in the cultivation of the soul path. Compared to my grandfather, I am still far behind. However, I am very happy this time. 6th Pagoda Master, thank you for bringing back the soul of a young powerhouse. Furthermore, it's a soul with dual powers. If I can completely absorb it, if I can fully absorb it, my soul path will reach another level. After saying this, the soul path princess's lips curled up. She was truly happy. At this moment, a middle-aged man on the 6th throne stood up and said with a smile, "It's good that the princess is happy." He was the palace master of the 6th soul palace. Previously, he was the one who suppressed Yunyue's soul. Now, he had given it to the princess to please her. If the princess broke through this time, her strength would be too strong. Those imperial princes could not be compared to her. The other pagoda masters also laughed. In front of them, the soul path princess snorted coldly. What are those imperial princes? Do they think they can be high and mighty just because they have the imperial bloodline? I will trample them under my feet. However, I heard that there are 2 people who are very terrifying. Are you talking about the Double Crown King, Han Tian? He is from the Chaotic Clan and is indeed very strong. The Double Crown King is above the imperial princes, one of the elders said. Another man said, the other person should be Lin Wudi. He was the only one who had made it onto the sovereign list. These 2 people were indeed extraordinary. After hearing this, the Soul Path Princess took a deep breath. She clenched her jade-like hands and said, "I know them. Of course, I know these 2 people. I will definitely surpass them." Her eyes were filled with strong confidence. At the end of her sentence, She stood up. Lin Woody? Does he deserve to be on the sovereign list? That's because I didn't make a move. If I did, only I can be on the sovereign list. At this point, a powerful soul aura emanated from her body, forming a terrifying soul vortex. The surrounding pagoda masters were also shocked. The princess's strength had increased again. They all congratulated her. However, at this moment, a rumbling sound came from afar. Following that, the mansion's door shattered, and a large spatial crack appeared in the array. It spread from afar like 10,000 bolts of lightning. The surrounding people's expressions changed. What's going on? Who dares to behave atrociously here? The surrounding pagoda masters were all stunned. For a moment, they did not react. Soon, someone stood up. What's going on? Who dares to disturb us? Do they have a death wish? Chapter 52:61. A cold snort was heard. However, the world was silent, and no one responded. A few figures walked out from the crack. At the front was a man in black robes and strolling leisurely. He looked like an immortal. Beside him were two beautiful women who looked like fairies from the 9 heavens. Beside them was a man in a starry battle robe. The 4 of them were extraordinarily powerful. Who are you? Do you know where you are? Someone shouted angrily. Another old man snorted and said, Go to hell. A cold light appeared in the old man's eyes and turned into a divine sword that slashed down from the sky. It was a powerful ocular technique. When the old man used it, it was extremely terrifying. The old man had an extraordinary background. He was the 8th pagoda master. He was extremely powerful and was an extremely terrifying existence among the saints. In addition, he used an ocular technique called spiritual sword. It was enough to pierce the soul of an expert of the same level and make them suffer a fate worse than death. The sword light attacked Murong Qingcheng. Murong Qingcheng snorted coldly. He formed a phoenix seal and attacked the spiritual sword ocular technique. There was a thunderous sound. The surrounding void continued to shatter. This attack was evenly matched. The spiritual sword ocular technique was repelled, and Murong Qingcheng retracted his palm. He actually blocked it. The 8th pagoda master was shocked and in disbelief. The people around him were also shocked. They knew how terrifying the old man's strength was. It was strange that he was blocked by a young woman. It seemed that their strength was not ordinary. Let's attack together and take him down. Another middle-aged woman stood up. The others also looked coldly at Murong Qingcheng and the others. Their eyes were filled with cold, killing intent. Lin Xian walked out and looked ahead. The 6th pagoda master? He said coldly, 2 days ago, you suppressed the soul of a woman called Yunyu. Hand over her soul, and I'll give you a quick death. The 6th pagoda master's pupils shrank. Yunyu? Although he did not know who she was, it seemed to be the soul that he gave to the Soul Path Princess. He snorted and stood up suddenly. How bold! Is there a place for you to be so presumptuous in the abyss of souls? Still not kneeling? Brat, are you ignoring me? The elder who had attacked earlier, the tower master of the 8th chaotic tower, was furious. Was the other party looking down on him? Go to hell! In the sky, a pair of eyes appeared, turning into the terrifying eyes of a deity. Millions of spiritual swords emerged from them. The power of this attack was much stronger than the previous ones. The old man roared. The other pagoda masters also snorted coldly. They were all peerless experts, and a few youngsters wanted to behave atrociously in front of them. He really didn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. In the face of such a terrifying attack, Lin Xian's eyes also shone with a golden light. Then, the power of reincarnation formed a mountain peak that came crashing down. It collided with the spiritual sword eye technique. An earth-shattering sound rang out. The tens of thousands of spiritual swords were suppressed by the reincarnation mountain and shattered into pieces. The eighth pagoda master spat out a mouthful of blood and fell to the ground. How could this be? He roared. The reincarnation mountain came crashing down on him, shattering his soul into pieces. With a scream, the eighth pagoda master's soul was destroyed. When the others saw this scene, they all sucked in a breath of cold air. Dead? Impossible! The eighth pagoda master was an expert and had a terrifying eye technique, but now he was killed in a single move. Who was that kid? Golden eyes. What kind of eye technique was that? They were extremely shocked. You also wanted to attack just now. Lin Xian turned to look at the other woman. That middle-aged woman was the ninth chaotic tower master. When she felt Lin Xian's gaze, her body trembled, and she took 2 steps back. Lin Xian sneered. Trash. What did you say? The ninth pagoda master roared. Although the other party was strange, he really couldn't stand it. A dazzling light appeared in his hand, dazzling everyone's eyes. It was the soul-snatching technique. He could snatch away a person's soul with a single palm. His strength was in no way inferior to that old man from before. The soul-snatching hand made Zixing and the others feel as if they were facing a great enemy. However, Lin Xian snorted coldly. The golden light in his eyes was even more terrifying. Soul Dao fire. Endless soul flames flew out and charged towards the soul-snatching hand. The 2 sides collided intensely. Were they evenly matched? Countless people were shocked. Suddenly, there was a cracking sound as the 9 heavens shattered. Cracks appeared on the soul-snatching hand, and it was charred black. No way. The ninth pagoda master was also defeated? They were shocked. The ninth pagoda master retracted his palm, and his expression became ugly. Damn it. However, at this moment, his pupils constricted. Lin Xian waved his hand. Demon God finger. On his finger, there was a shocking demonic chi that pierced through heaven and earth. This finger was like a demon descending and directly piercing through the ninth pagoda master's forehead. Puff! The ninth pagoda master's head shattered, and he fell into a pool of blood. Another one died. The surrounding people went crazy. In the blink of an eye, 2 pagoda masters died. This made them feel like they were dreaming. They couldn't believe it at all. Who was this young man? He was too terrifying. His golden eyes were obviously an extremely terrifying eye technique. Not only that, but that finger just now was a top-tier lost art. This person's physique and soul were very powerful. Who was he? These people began to recall. On the path of martial arts, one either cultivated the physique, the law of divine powers, or the soul. However, they had never heard of anyone who was powerful. Even the princess was frowning. She looked at the 6th pagoda master. Do you know who he is? The 6th pagoda master took a deep breath. It should be the woman I brought, her companion. At this point, the 6th pagoda master also took a deep breath. Tell me your name. Do you know that this is the abyss of souls, not a place where you can behave atrociously? Behave atrociously? Humph! Lin Xian snorted coldly. So what if I behave atrociously? Hand over my companion's soul, or I'll let you die without a burial place. You're courting death. The 6th pagoda master also shouted angrily. He waved his sleeve, and an evil spirit with a green face and fangs shot out. It was formed from the condensation of 10 million souls. It was terrifying to the extreme. It specialized in devouring the souls of others. When the evil spirit arrived in front of Lin Xian, it was shattered by Lin Xian's finger. It was an insignificant skill. I'll give you one last chance. Where is Yunyu's soul? Lin Xian's voice was cold. Damn it, he had gone too far. The 6th pagoda master shouted angrily and stretched out his hands. 9 chains flew out from his sleeves. carrying the extremely strange law of the soul. These 9 chains instantly enveloped Lin Xian. He laughed and said, "Suppress me." The 6th pagoda master was happy. His 9 chains came from the evil spirit of hell and contained an endless aura of destruction. No one who was locked by these chains had ever been able to come out alive. Today, the other party would undoubtedly die. It was over. The other pagoda masters also laughed. The other party was still young. Chapter 5262. Feeling the power of the chains, Lin Xian shouted coldly and released his 9 yang divine body. The terrifying yang flames began to burn the other party's chains. The 9 chains shook violently and then broke apart. Lin Xian punched forward and forced the 6th pagoda leader back. The 6th pagoda leader spat out a mouthful of blood, and his face was filled with shock. "Who are you? This guy's physique is too terrifying." The others were shocked, too. What terrifying flames. What a strong physique. Could he be? Lin Xian stood with his hands behind his back and looked around. "I am Lin Wudi." "What? Lin Wudi? It's really him. Heavens, this should be the 9 yang divine body. It's so similar to the legends. No wonder he could break the chains." Exclamations could be heard one after another. They had heard of this name before. He was on the supreme leaderboard. They didn't expect him to come here. The 6th pagoda leader's pupils constricted. Lin Wudi was a tough guy to deal with. They had talked about him before. They didn't expect to meet him now. At the same time, he was shocked. He had captured Lin Wudi's friend. Damn it. Lin Xian's voice was cold. He looked forward and said, "Accept your punishment." The 6th pagoda leader scoffed. "You're too arrogant. We have so many people here. Can you really beat us?" Lin Xian shook his head. "I gave you 2 chances, and you didn't cherish them. You can go to hell and repent now." He was like a sun god. Everywhere he went, he burned the 9 heavens. The 6th pagoda leader was shocked by Lin Xian's aura. He was so scared that he broke out in cold sweat and kept retreating. He knew that he was embarrassed. His eyes were red, and he roared, "Damn kid, don't be arrogant. So what if she's your friend? I've already given her to a princess. Her fate is to be absorbed as energy for us to use. No matter how strong you are, can you change your fate?" Ha ha ha. Arrogant laughter could be heard. Lin Xian's face turned cold when he heard that. Yun Yu was his battle servant. There was only one person in the world who could attack her. That was him. Other than him, no one else could do anything to Yun Yu. Now the other party actually wanted to swallow Yun Yu as energy. Lin Xian was thoroughly enraged. Endless sword qi appeared on his body, baring its fangs and brandishing its claws. It was like a giant dragon roaring at the sky. At this moment, the heavenly palace shattered, and the earth cracked. The entire abyss of souls shook violently as if it was the end of the world. 6 Dao fist. Lin Xian punched out. 6 illusory worlds appeared and attacked the 6th pagoda master. The 6th pagoda master roared furiously and did his best to resist. However, under this punch, all of his weapon divine abilities were shattered. The illusions of the 6 worlds suppressed him. Lin Xian looked down from above and stepped on the other soul. 6 paths, reincarnation, and heavenly secret divine eyes were activated, forming an illusory world. He began to reincarnate the other party's soul. A miserable voice could be heard. The 6th pagoda master was experiencing a life worse than death. "All of you will have to bear my wrath." Lin Xian's voice was cold. The surrounding people were all shocked. They were stupefied. Another pagoda master had fallen. Moreover, his soul was being tortured. This was simply unbelievable. They were all soul experts, but they couldn't compare to a young man in the underworld. The 6th pagoda master was destroyed. Lin Xian turned around and stared at the woman at the front. You're the princess who got here? Hand over Yunue's soul. Then kneel at the side and wait for me to deal with you. You're courting death. You're too arrogant. You got the princess to roar crazily. This was her territory, but the other party wanted her to teach someone a lesson and even made her kneel. She couldn't tolerate it. Everyone, attack. Whoever kills him will die. I'll reward you heavily. As soon as she finished speaking, she screamed because Lin Xian slashed at her. Dragon-shaped sword Qi slashed down from the sky. The Soul Dao princess tried her best to dodge, but she was still hit. A crack appeared on her soul. She screamed miserably. Hurry up and attack. The remaining 8 tower masters of the mixed towers also roared. Die. The 11th pagoda master was a burly man. He was like a giant, and his body was surrounded by soul lightning that shook the surroundings. He punched out with a vast power that could destroy everything. The 5th pagoda master sneered. He held a killing sword in his hand that carried an extremely strong soul law. He stabbed at Lin Xian's soul. The 3rd pagoda master formed a soul fire that burned fiercely. The remaining pagoda masters used their own methods. They were extremely powerful. Lin Xian, on the other hand, used the shadowless heavens net. His silhouette disappeared in an instant, shuttling back and forth continuously. He dodged these attacks. At the same time, he used the Azura sword technique. This was a killing sword that matched the power of the great dragon sword spirit. It had an unparalleled power that could kill with one strike. Pooh! Like a flying immortal. The 4th pagoda master's head flew up. He screamed miserably. Another sword that seemed to have come from hell pierced through the 3rd pagoda master. The 3rd pagoda master screamed. Damn it, this was a terrifying killing technique. He was a top-notch killer. Someone shouted angrily. The 1st pagoda master snorted. So what? He can't hide under our souls. His soul reached the heavens. Terrifying light rushed out from the top of these people's heads, forming a sky curtain that enveloped the entire space. With such a soul technique, no matter how well the other party hid, they could still find him. But this time, they found that there was no one. With a poochie sound, a sword came from the west and cut off the 1st pagoda master's arm. The 1st pagoda master roared. He turned around and attacked, but found that the enemy had already disappeared. Not good. He is also a soul expert. He can block our detection. Cold shouts sounded one after another. The other party's methods were too strange. They couldn't block such a killing technique. Sure enough, the pagoda masters fell one after another. In the end, only 2 were left. The 1st pagoda master and the 2nd pagoda master. The 2 of them were considered to be the strongest, but they were also injured at this moment. As for the others, they were all killed. Lin Xian's figure appeared. The hell sword in his hand dripped with blood. Killing intent still surrounded him. What kind of sword technique is this? My body can't heal. The 1st pagoda master was terrified. The other party's sword was too cold. At their level, they could be reborn with just a drop of blood. But after being hit by the other party's sword, it was as difficult as ascending to the heavens. Their strength was greatly reduced. Lin Xian's aura changed into a terrifying demonic aura. The demonic god seal rushed forward. The 2nd pagoda master was smashed into pieces. Run! The 1st pagoda master roared and turned around to escape. Even the princess retreated. Quick, inform my grandfather and tell him before he could finish, he was sent flying by the sword. At the same time, the 1st pagoda master fled into the distance. At this time, he found that 2 women were facing him. Lin Wudi was powerful, but could these 2 women be heaven-defying? He slapped out with both palms and attacked, but soon he regretted it, because the strength of the 2 women in front of him was beyond his imagination. Chapter 52:63. A green lotus could suppress heaven and earth. A seven-colored phoenix could sweep through the nine heavens. Yan Ruyu's and Morong Qingqing's bloodlines and abilities were extremely frightening. It was not something the other party could imagine. Therefore, when they stood up, the first pagoda master was instantly pushed back. Damn it, he roared crazily. He did not expect that other than Lin Xian, the people around him were also so terrifying. Lin Xian looked at the Chaos Path's princess and said coldly, "Hand her over." The princess snorted coldly, and her expression became extremely ugly. Previously, she did not take Lin Xian seriously. She thought that he was only lucky to be on the supreme leaderboard. If Lin Xian encountered her, he would have no chance of winning. Now that she had met him, the princess felt even more pressured. However, she was a top-notch expert after all. With her strength, she definitely dared to compete with Lin Xian. In the next moment, he roared angrily and rushed over. The souls in the world rumbled, and everyone felt their hair stand on end. They did not expect that woman to be so terrifying. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Golden lightning flashed in his eyes, and he rushed out like an unparalleled god of war. The two collided, and the void kept shattering. In the blink of an eye, 10 moves had passed. The princess was pushed back. Her blood was boiling, and her expression was gloomy. Lin Xian was also surprised. "I didn't expect you to be so strong. You are indeed qualified to be my opponent. Unfortunately, you've already angered me. If you don't hand her over, I won't let you off." Lin Xian roared. His long sword flickered with an even more terrifying killing intent. He slashed out with his sword. It was incomparably sharp, and it was about to shatter the 9 heavens. The Chaos Path Princess felt a great threat. A terrifying light burst out from her eyes. Abyss of Souls. With a furious roar, a canyon appeared behind her. It carried a supreme aura and charged forward. The canyon enveloped heaven and earth. Killing intent emerged and covered Lin Xian's longsword. "It's useless. This is my territory. I can mobilize unlimited power. You are not my opponent at all. Suppress me." The canyon was incomparably terrifying, and it gradually began to suppress the void. Morong Qingqing and the others also felt a wave of pressure, as if their powers were being restricted. Lin Xian was the first to bear the brunt. He could also feel it. However, he didn't care. He snorted coldly. What could mere pressure do to him? He took a step forward. His golden foot shattered everything. His divine body was simply too domineering at this moment. Although the pressure here was small, it couldn't compare to the sword and the world. He swung his sword 3 times in a row, splitting the canyon in half. The princess was sent flying while coughing up blood. Demon God Finger. Lin Xian shot out like a black bolt of lightning. The demonic god seal caused the half-blood princess to vomit blood. The soul of the soul Dao princess was almost shattered. She raised her head and roared. Damn it, the other party was actually stronger than her. Even though she had taken out the local advantage, she still couldn't beat her opponent. She turned around and fled as well. How could this be? When First Pagoda Master sensed the scene, his eyes almost popped out. That was the half-blood princess, an existence that even they had to admire. But now, she was defeated by Lin Xian. Was this Lin Wuti already so terrifying? Damn it. How could this be? He trembled in fear. Lin Xian snorted coldly and chased after her again with the demon god wings. The Azure sword was an extremely powerful killing sword. Combined with the power of the dragon sword soul, it formed a peerless killing sword. It directly pierced through the body of the half-blood princess. The half-blood princess was severely injured, and her body fell. Seeing that the black seal was about to shatter her, she went crazy. At this moment, she finally went crazy. An extremely terrifying rune suddenly appeared between her eyebrows and shot into the sky. In the next moment, she turned into an illusion and roared at the sky. Who dares to touch my granddaughter? It was the illusion of an old man. His eyes were as cold as a blade. As soon as he appeared, he shattered everything. Grandpa, save me. The half-blood princess let out an unwilling roar. That was the trump card that her grandpa left in her body to save her life. She did not expect it to come in handy. It meant that she had been completely defeated. She was unwilling to accept this. The first pagoda master was also shocked. Was she defeated? But soon, he snorted coldly. So what if she was defeated? Even the illusion of ancestor Yuan had appeared. It could definitely defeat everything. At least they could leave safely. Old man, you want to protect her? Lin Xian looked at the illusion and said coldly. The illusion also stared at Lin Xian. Who are you? How dare you injure my granddaughter? Kneel down and accept your death. Lin Xian sneered. Your granddaughter deserves to die. She suppressed my friend's soul and wanted to devour it as energy. Shouldn't I kill her? If you want to protect her, I'll kill you too. Idiot. It's your friend's fortune that my granddaughter has taken a fancy to him. If my granddaughter wants something, you have to kneel down and accept it, let alone friends. How dare you resist? Go to hell. The old man slapped over. The terrifying aura that covered the sky made one's hair stand on end. Boom, boom, boom. Lin Xian used his terrifying fist to resist, but he was forced to retreat. At the same time, a golden light appeared in his eyes, forming the reincarnation mountain in front of him. He blocked the attack. Who are you, young man? The old man's illusion shouted angrily. It was shocking that the other party could block his attack and not die. Fine, I'll let you die with understanding. I'm Lin Wudi. You can go to hell now. Lin Xian's eyes shone with a terrifying light. In the next moment, a dragon-shaped sword appeared and was held by him. He slashed forward. Slash. Nothing could stop the slash that could split heaven and earth. The old man's illusion was shocked. You're courting death. He threw out both palms, but he still couldn't block it. Under the slash, he was split apart and disappeared into thin air. Roar. How dare you hurt my granddaughter? I'll tear you into pieces. The last voice sounded and then disappeared. Lin Xian sneered. He didn't care at all. Once again, he slashed his sword at the princess. The princess was truly in despair. Even her grandfather's illusion was shattered. Did she have any way to resist? She was split apart by the slash. Blood stained the sky. She had completely died. Was she dead? The first pagoda master was terrified. He couldn't believe it. That was the princess. Now she was dead. What kind of storm would it cause? It's over. These guys are dead for sure. He sped up and fled. In the end, he was killed by Yan Ruyu and Murong Qingcheng. At this moment, everyone in the mansion had died. Lin Xian and the others cleaned up the battlefield and collected all the storage rings of these people. These people were all soul experts. Whether it was cultivation methods, pills, or great Tao crystals, they were all related to the soul. It was a great harvest for them. Brother Xian, let's leave quickly. That old man is very powerful. Murong Qingcheng and the others were worried, but Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. It's fine. I'll kill them. These resources aren't enough. This time, I'll let my heavenly secret divine eyes break through completely. Chapter 52-64. Lin Xian had a shocking idea, and that was to continue attacking and completely sweep through the abyss of souls. Zixing and the others were dumbstruck after hearing this. That old man was probably in existence at the peak of the great sage realm. No worries, I have a way to kill him. The corner of Lin Xian's mouth raised. If the other party dared to use the power of heaven and earth here to suppress him, then he could also use the power of the sword world to suppress him. With his own strength, He was still unable to contend against the peak of the great sage realm, but if he used the sword world to restrict him, then it was naturally possible. Let's go. Lin Xian waved his hand, and the group of them walked out of the hall. The people outside the mansion were still waiting. Terrifying sounds of battle could be heard from inside. Those guys should have been killed. That's for sure. He had 11 pagoda masters inside, and one of them was a princess. With 12 top-notch experts attacking together, those people would not die without a doubt. These people all laughed. However, there were also some people who sighed. It was a pity for these two peerless fairies. Just as they were talking, a few figures suddenly walked out from the mansion in front of them. The surrounding people all quieted down. They became respectful. They should have mixed in with the princess and the others, but when they looked up, they realized that it was not the case. They were not mixed in with the princess and the others, but the few youths who had entered before. How was this possible? They didn't die. These people were dumbstruck, unable to believe it. Someone said, could it be that the princess was merciful and spared these people? I think it's possible. Lin Xian looked around and sneered. Your souls to the princess, including the 11 pagoda masters, are all dead. Now, are you going to kneel down and submit, or are you going to the Yellow Springs with them? What? Dead. The surrounding people were all stunned. Someone sneered. What did you say? Are you dreaming? That's right. How could those 12 experts die? These people did not believe it. They rushed in. However, when they discovered that there were 12 blood seas in the mansion, they were all stunned. They were really dead. 11 pagoda masters, mixed in with the princess, all fell. Not a single one of them was alive. They felt like they had all collapsed. Heavens, this was definitely an earth-shattering event. Oh no, the Abyss of Souls is about to experience a huge storm. They trembled in fear as they looked ahead. Do you know what you've done? Just as he finished speaking, Lin Xian cleaved that person apart with his sword. Are you lecturing me? The others were so scared that they quickly knelt on the ground. We are willing to submit. They had no choice but to lower their heads now, but they gritted their teeth and refused to accept it. Because they knew that there were even more terrifying existences in the Abyss of Souls. That was the Abyss Master. Only the princess's grandfather was at the peak of the great sage level. The other party's soul was incomparable. It was an existence that stood at the pinnacle. If the other party were to make a move, these people would definitely not be able to withstand it. When these people were defeated, they would go up and tear them into pieces. But now they had to stop him and make him stay here. If he ran away, the celestial land was very vast. It would not be easy to find him again. A few people came up and said, Young master, we have many sacred places for cultivating the soul here. Why don't you come over and cultivate for a while? Yes, I know a place. These people began to secretly prolong the time. Lin Xian did not seem to know the intentions of these people. He waved his hand and said, No need. Tell me, where is your Abyss Master? I will kill him, and you should be convinced. What? This guy wants to find the Abyss Master and kill him? Heavens, he's not joking, right? Why do I feel that this guy is too daring? The surrounding people went crazy. It seemed that they did not need to stop the other party. This guy would go to the Abyss of Souls himself. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Tell me where the princess of the soul path lives. He rose into the air and flew towards the distance. That should be the place where Yunyu was suppressed. He hoped that Yunyu was fine. In the depths of the Abyss of Souls, there were several magnificent mansions. There were continuous palaces inside. This was the core area. No one else could enter. Even the pagoda master was not qualified. This was the place where the princess lived, and behind this was an even more terrifying and mysterious place. At this moment, there was a sea of souls, and an old man was sitting cross-legged on it. The old man's body floated. His soul left his body and soared into the 9 heavens. An extremely terrifying soul aura appeared. This power was even more terrifying than the previous 12 pagoda masters combined. Obviously, this was an existence that surpassed the sage and reached the peak of the great sage. He was the abyss master of the abyss of souls. At this moment, he suddenly opened his eyes and roared, "Damn it! Lin Wuti, you dare to kill my granddaughter. I will tear you into pieces. I will make you suffer a fate worse than death." His soul rushed out. He was really angry. His granddaughter, who had become a princess, was a young person that he was very optimistic about. In the future, her achievements would not be weaker than his. She might even surpass him and reach an incredible level. He placed all his hopes on his granddaughter. His granddaughter did not disappoint him. Now, she was a young powerhouse. She even dared to challenge the sovereign. Such ambition made the abyss master very satisfied. But now his granddaughter was dead. He could not accept it. All of his hopes and dreams had been shattered. All of this was because of Lin Wuti. No matter what the other party's identity or origin was, he would not spare him. An extremely terrifying light burst out from his eyes and swept in all directions. It enveloped the entire abyss of souls. At the same time, the surrounding array was activated and sealed the space. He would not let the other party escape. In the open space in front of the square, those Mingdao masters were also shocked when they saw this scene. It seemed that the abyss master had made a move. Great, he would definitely sweep everything away. Let's see how these people will die. Lin Xian and the others descended into the princess's residence. Lin Xian opened the heaven-opening divine eyes to investigate. Soon, he found that there was a dungeon. With a wave of his hand, he split the dungeon open. Lin Xian walked in. Inside the dungeon, on the stone pillars, there were many souls chained. At this moment, they were roaring in horror. One of the innermost stone pillars, this illusory soul, was Yun'an. His soul was covered with runes. These were runes condensed by the peak of the great sage. Even if he was a young powerhouse, it was difficult to break. She was desperate. Was she going to die? Although she had become Lin Xian's slave, she did not feel ashamed. On the contrary, she had infinite hope. Lin Xian was a young supreme, someone who would become a great emperor in the future. It was a supreme honor for her to follow the great emperor, but now she was afraid that she would fall in advance. Boom! Suddenly, she raised her head and found that the space in front of her had shattered. Sunlight shone in, brightening the surroundings. At the same time, another figure walked in. Chapter 5265. Was it that bastard princess? It seemed that the other party was going to make a move on her. Yun Yu's eyes were filled with despair, and the other suppressed souls were also roaring in horror. But soon, they were stunned because they found that it was not the princess of the underworld. Especially Hanyu, her eyes were red. It was young master. She didn't expect it to be Lin Xian. Was he here to save her? At this moment, she was really too excited. Lin Xian came in front of her like a god, and with a wave of his hand, the chains on Yun Yu's body shattered. "Don't worry, you're safe from now on," Lin Xian said in a deep voice. Yun Yu was so excited. She directly threw herself into Lin Xian's arms, but when she saw Murong Qingqing and Yen Ryu coming from behind, she came back to her senses. She immediately stood up straight and lowered her head shyly. "Thank you for saving my life, young master. You rest first, I'll deal with that old thing." Lin Xian's eyes erupted with an extremely terrifying light, and he raised his head and looked into the distance. He sensed an extremely terrifying power and rushed over here. "Oh no, young master, be careful. That's the existence of the peak of the supreme sage." Yun Yu was extremely worried. Lin Xian smiled and said, "Don't worry, I have a way." The suppressed souls around were surprised. This young man wanted to challenge the peak of the Supreme Sage? What kind of joke was this? Did he know the terror of the Abyss of Souls and the Abyss Master? Lin Xian ignored these people at all. He rose into the air and flew outside. At the same time, he shouted coldly, "Old thing, get out." This voice resounded through the 9 heavens, so that everyone in the Abyss of Souls heard it. God, did I hear wrongly? Someone is challenging the Abyss Master. Who was it that was so reckless? Is it the young man from before? Shocked voices could be heard one after another. At the same time, in the depths of the Abyss of Souls, an old voice also came. "Stupid thing, you haven't left yet. Well, I'll catch you and tear you into pieces so that you can never rise again." Boom. A palm came crashing down from the sky, carrying with it an extremely terrifying soul aura. Everyone in the Abyss of Souls prostrated themselves on the ground. Heavens! It really is the Abyss Master. Someone exclaimed. Abyss Lord made a move. That brat was dead for sure. Everyone was shocked. Lin Xian used Shadowless Heaven's net and quickly dodged. At the same time, with the help of the demon god wings, he instantly dodged to the place where he had been. It was completely shattered. The golden radiance in his eyes dimmed. It had to be said that the pinnacle of the great sage realm was absolutely terrifying. The Abyss Lord walked out and sneered. "You are no match for me. You, a puny little great sage initial stage, dare to contend with me? Fine, I'll let you know the difference between us." So what if the other party was Lin Wuti? No matter how strong he was just a young man. Today, he would make the other party despair. An extremely terrifying aura bloomed from the Abyss Lord. In the dungeon, the souls that had been suppressed were also shocked. It was over. That young man was dead meat. That's right, he really didn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Yun Yu snorted coldly. What do you know? Young Master was the strongest. He was an invincible existence. Invincible? The surrounding souls shook their heads. This should only be relative to the young man, looking at the entire universe, who dared to claim to be invincible. Young man, go to hell. The Abyss Lord in the sky made a move again. The souls retracted, covering the sky and the earth. At the same time, the other hand also grabbed out. This time, he would not give the other party a chance. Lin Xian snorted coldly. He stood there without moving. Those soul powerhouses kneeling on the ground sighed when they saw this scene. This young man had been scared silly. It seemed that after this blow, he would definitely die. However, at this time, a vortex appeared beside Lin Xian. Then a crack appeared. In the next moment, the phantom of a sword appeared and shrouded the surroundings from all directions. What was this? Sacred domain? The soul powerhouse was surprised, then shook his head. Did he think his sacred domain could compete with a great sage peak? He was too naive. Boom. The Abyss Lord also sneered. He was really stupid. Even if he took out a stronger weapon, he was no match for him. He sneered and sped up. The power on his palm was even more terrifying. The other party's sacred domain was definitely torn apart. However, when these two attacks hit it, it made a shocking sound. However, it did not shatter the sacred domain. Instead, it was engulfed by the phantom of that world. What was this? The Abyss Lord was stunned. The others were also dumbfounded. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Lin Xian made another move. The sword world enveloped the Abyss Lord. When the Abyss Lord was enveloped by this phantom, his body immediately sank. His pupils constricted. What a terrifying pressure. The other party's winning rate actually had such pressure. It was too unbelievable. He knew that the pressure in the immortal land was much more terrifying than the outside world. After the experts from the outside came in, they were all weaker than the experts here. This was also the reason why he was so confident, Because they had been in the immortal land all year round, they had long adapted to this pressure. The same powerhouse was no match for him at all. But now, the phantom of this world brought about even more terrifying pressure than the immortal land. He was too surprised. Did the other party have any magic treasure in his hand? In the next moment, Lin Xian arrived in front of the other party and sneered. "Welcome to my world. This is the place where you will fall. Your world,